you guys. Happy Wednesday. Here we are back once again with another true crime show. If you hear a noise in the background, it's the ceiling fan, so you know what I mean?
Should have got mad that I turned the ceiling fan
Well,
on.
I really don't like it on.
Fucking hot as hell.
It's really not hot in here. And
It is
the
for
thing
me.
about the ceiling fan is that it doesn't really work right, and there's only one speed. It's like off or fastest speed, so you can't like even put it on low. Which is kind of annoying. So it's kind of no, it's fine. Just leave it. Just leave it because otherwise you're gonna complain about being hot. But it's just I don't like it because one I'm cold, and two like it keeps blowing hair in my face, and it drives me kind of.
It's 74 degrees in here.
It drives me crazy.
74 degrees.
This room is cold because because the vent is right there.
Still
That's
probably
why.
74 in here.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I don't feel cold. Like I said, I told you could leave it on.
No, it's all right.
I just don't like it.
All right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, CB saying, I remember when this happened about this crazy bitch we're talking about today. She has scars all over her belly because she took a knife to her own belly. That is how fucked up she is. Yeah, she was a real into self-harm and was into cutting herself for sexual reasons also. There is actually a picture of her that circulated in the media where she posed for, I don't know who took the picture, but she's posing like on the... Looks like the outside of like her apartment building or something like that, where her foot's like up on the door and she's pulling her shirt up and you can see like all the scars on her belly. So she's like kind of proud of them. Yeah. CB also said she had her kids taken away because she was deemed an unfit mother. That's kind of accurate. The state didn't take her kids. Actually her boyfriend / or the baby daddy, he took them because he was terrified of her and thought that she was going to do something bad, which, as we'll see, was not an unreasonable thing to think, honestly. And I'm really glad that he stepped up and was like, yeah, I need to get the fuck out of here. The thing about this woman is fascinating. I didn't know much about her. I feel like she's not super, super well known in the US because it was like a British case, even though she absolutely should be, because we've talked about this before where, you know, obviously... a much higher percentage of serial killers are men. I think it's like somewhere between 85 and 92% of serial killers that they know of are men. So obviously there's some kind of biological thing going on generally.
Well, men are more aggressive.
Yeah. But even when women are serial killers, because there are women serial killers, obviously, but they tend to not kill for the same reasons and they don't kill using the same methods. This woman was very, very unusual. She's like a very vanishingly small percentage because she's not only, I mean, I guess technically she gets called a serial killer, but I think, and I saw like a criminologist on a documentary that was saying this too. It's like technically she's kind of more a spree killer because her murders took place like over a relatively short period of time. It was only like 10 days or something like that.
It wasn't a sexual motive either.
Well, a lot of criminologists would argue with you about that because she did get a sexual charge out of harming people. She was a sadist. And several psychiatrists that examined her did say that she got a sexual arousal out of
she wasn't
hurting people.
Having sex with the victims, and I don't think she was sexually attracted to them. She just got off sexually by killing the dudes. Because some of the dudes were random.
Well, no, just the ones she killed, she knew them.
The dudes walking down the street. Oh, they lived.
But they lived. Those two.
But she tried to kill them.
One of the guys she killed, she was having an affair with. And one of the other ones, she was kind of like pretending to date them. She hadn't known him that long. And the other one was like her roommate or a guy that lived in the same building. So she knew the three that she murdered. And then she went on like a fucking rampage and tried to kill two more dudes who were just random, just random ass dudes walking down the street. But thankfully they both survived. But this woman, not only very unusual for a woman to stab her victims to death, again, very strange. And just the way she went about it was just really weird. Really Taylor Schabusiness vibes.
Yeah.
Like she kind of reminds me of Taylor Schabusiness. Even though Taylor Schabusiness, we did a show about her a while back. If you don't know who we're talking about, she's technically not a serial killer. She only killed one person, but and I was fascinated by that chick too because I'm just like, this is very, very strange. Like for a woman to do something like this. Like I said, it's not that unusual for them to be a serial killer. I mean, it is unusual, but it's not that strange. But usually, like I said, women killers will use like poisoning or they tend to target, more vulnerable, like children or elderly or something like that. Or they'll do it like more sneaky like. But this woman was just like a straight up like that kind of fucking shit. You know what I mean? Which you don't usually see. Very, very aggressive. And dudes were, the weird thing about it too was that a lot of dudes were like terrified of her, but she was really, really good at getting dudes to do like whatever she wanted. And she wasn't even like particularly hot or anything. I mean, she wasn't a troll, but like
she's average.
She was just an average looking girl, young woman. And she got how many dudes? I think it was like 4 or 5 different dudes to like help her. They didn't help her kill anybody. She killed them all on her own. But she got them to like help her like dispose of bodies and shit like that. And they were like, okay, what I mean?
They were all kind of weak men.
Well, they were all kind of losers. I mean, the milieu she was operating in was just like a bunch of very vulnerable people, drug addicts, drunks, a lot of poverty. And so
she was in a bad area.
And and a lot of the dudes that she manipulated were older or not that bright or, were drug addicts or whatever. So I guess they thought, hey, a reasonably okay looking young woman is like paying attention to me.
Oh yeah, she was a hottie compared to the dudes.
And then and then so they would just like simp really hard for her. And she would just like call them up and be like, hey, I just stabbed a motherfucker to death. You want to help me dump the body? Okay. You know what I mean? It was like that kind of shit. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. Talking about magic pussy.
Yeah, big old simpy ass baby Huey.
Dude. Yeah. We'll talk about that guy. Cause he went to prison too.
Yeah.
But
over her.
And again, unusually, because I kind of feel like the worst female murderers, particularly in the UK, like Rose West and Myra Hindley, they worked in tandem with the dude, like they were part of a couple. And even we have some into it, but that wasn't the United States, but Canada, right? The Karla Homolka, the Barbie and Ken killers. She kind of had a slightly sexual motive too, but like I said, it was like a couple thing. And in a lot of those cases, I'm not sure if the woman would have done the shit without him. This case, she did the shit all on her own. This was just all her own idea. And the weird thing about it too is that there were no like warning signs really. Like she seemed totally normal, like when she was a kid. And then suddenly she turned into a teenager and then she just like turned into a monster pretty much. Like, and I don't get it. It must have been some kind of, I don't know if it was some kind of fucking, something snapped in her brain. I don't know. But it's like, it's a fucking crazy ass fucking case. CB said one of her victims was a guy she had sex with a few times. Yeah. Like, we'll get into that. It's like she only killed 4. She killed 3 guys. She killed 3 guys and then she tried to kill 2 more guys, but they both lived. Not through lack of trying, though, I will say.
I count them as victims, you know what I mean? They would have died, but they didn't.
I'm actually, the 5th guy, I'm actually shocked he didn't die. Like, after I saw some of the pictures that they took of him, like, a little bit later in the hospital, and he was all fucked up.
She started to just kind of explode because she was a wanted woman. So she just tried to get as much fucking violence and homicide in as she possibly could before she was caught. And she was picking dudes at random, just walking down the street.
And she just did it. She just thought it was fun. Like, and funny.
Yeah, there's more to it than that.
But I mean, sure the way she acted was just kind of like, hey, we're just going to go stab some motherfuckers. All right. You know what I mean? Like, it was that kind of shit.
I think it was just hatred for society and mankind and ego. And it's also kind of like a suicide, too. She was kind of imploding, exploding. She was destroying herself, I think, was part of it.
Yeah.
I think the rest of it was all just performance and show business.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely an attention seeker for sure. And I think that a large part of her motivation was, I think, enjoying the fact that people were afraid of her and trying to be scary and trying to be edgy and stuff like that, which, like I said, we'll get into a little bit too. But, I mean, that said, she was trying to be an edgelord and all this other kind of shit, but she did brutally murder 3 people and try to murder 2 other people.
She's kind of like I said, another version of Taylor's Business, or kind of like the Pazuzu dude that we did a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
He was just another
Pazuzu Algarad.
He's just about attention. you know.
Yeah, and like, ooh, I'm so scary.
Yeah.
Satan, Satan. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like this chick didn't do Satanist shit as far as I
yeah.
know. Like I didn't see anything about
No.
that. But she definitely like well, she was a pathological liar too. That was
Yeah.
another thing. So she would always kind of like
Kinda goes hand in hand.
she did terrible shit, but she would like amp up like,
Yeah.
you know, terrible shit that she did, make shit up like to make herself sound scarier or more badass or whatever.
Yeah.
So yes, there's definitely a component of that as well. And yeah, CB said when she was at school the other girls were scared of her. Yeah, I did kind of feel I kind of got mixed things on that cuz like I watched a bunch of different documentaries. And another weird thing too is that a lot of documentaries I watch, because the Wikipedia page and some of all the other pages and stuff call her Joanna Dennehy, but all of the British documentaries I saw called her Joanne. So I'm not entirely sure if her name had an A on the end or an E on the end, or if it did have an A on the end and the British just don't pronounce it like that. I'm not really sure. But says Wikipedia says Joanna, so that's what I'm going with. But you know what I mean. But I put Joanne in the keywords too, just in case, because I know that sometimes it's spelled like that, and I'm not really sure which way is correct. Not like it super matters, but I just thought that was interesting. Yeah, Gramther said some women have a strange mojo, and weak-minded dudes do whatever they're told. Yeah, and I definitely think that there was some of that going on in this situation, because like I said, she got like it was like 4 or 5 guys like that she got to essentially do her bidding, and it's kind of the rare woman that can just like call up a dude and just be like, hey, I just murdered somebody, like help me dispose of the body, and then like not even question it and just like go along with I don't really
Well,
get it.
from the videos that I've seen, and when where this was taking place, this is just a special part of the UK where it was in just a little nook and cranny, and it was just where they happened to have a bunch of economically depressed people, and
Yeah, it was definitely that environment.
It was the hood, you know,
more or less, yeah.
and the hood there isn't quite is the same as the hood here. It would be kind of like the equivalent of somewhere. The U.S. equivalent would be somewhere up in Ohio or Michigan in the Rust Belt, in a place where all the industry's been gone for a couple generations, or maybe somewhere up in Appalachia where there used to be jobs, but there isn't now, and it's just a bunch of people on welfare taking drugs. It was a place like that, and there were no quality males there, you know. So she just kind of started to run over all these little fat dudes and old druggies and fucking old burnt out dudes and killing them and shit.
Yeah,
she couldn't get away from this in a healthy environment.
Well, no,
she'd have got her shit stomped. You know, she wasn't physically intimidating. She
wasn't a big girl. She was just like average size.
Yeah, if she was in a normal area, then she'd have got fucked up.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to me, like how fucking wrong she went. I think really something kind of snapped in her brain, seriously. But yeah, I wanted to write this down because I was just kind of like she called murder moreish, which we don't really have that slang term in American English, but essentially in UK English it means, you know, when something tastes so good that like you can't stop eating it.
Mm-hmm.
That they call that moreish. So she called murder that. Like once she got a taste of it, she just had to keep doing it.
Okay.
And like I was watching another YouTuber like that chapter, and he's like, it's kind of like Pringles, like once you stop and once you pop you can't stop. He's like, it's kind of like that. That's what he was, and he's a British dude or Irish dude, I think. And so yeah, so that's what that means, but that's what she called it. And so that was like in a lot of papers at the time. All right, so yeah, CB said the police thought it was a man killing at first, not a woman. Well, you would think that, like when you saw the body with like fucking 30 ass stab wounds in it, you're thinking, yeah, a dude did that. Because how often does a woman do that? Hardly ever.
Yeah.
So it's like, obviously 99.9% of the time, a dude did that.
What she's talking about is what General Butt Naked was talking about. General Butt Naked was this African warlord. Killed a bunch of people, did a bunch of child sacrifice, drinking blood, he's cannibal. And then he became a church dude, you know what I mean? Interesting character. We did a show on General Butt Naked.
Yeah, a while back.
General Butt Naked, and he would take all his clothes off and go into combat. And he said it made him invisible and bulletproof. And he never got shot. People would see him, though, they just run. And a
Because
lot
they're
of,
like, it's a crazy naked man.
yeah, and a lot of his soldiers just
So it kind of worked.
his soldiers also ran around naked with women's wigs on and in drag and
Yeah.
bras and just to be as outrageous as they possibly could.
So, it's psychological warfare because
Yeah.
you see that coming at you, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, naked dudes dressed as women,
Yeah.
or made up as women.
It's like, what the
But,
hell is going on?
He said, the first time you kill someone, there's a pangs of guilt and regret with it. So what you could do is sometimes you kill another person again to kind of bury the guilt of the first one. You're kind of affirming it in yourself that no, this is what I want to do. And he said it becomes addictive, and that's what they would do to child soldiers.
Because you're just making it a habit.
That the first one that you kill is hard, and then to make that first one feel better, you do another one which makes them both easier, and then you just keep. Then you're normalizing it. You're normalizing and then he said after a while, it's very mechanical because people die pretty much in the same way, so it seems to be the same thing over and over again. And he said torture was the same way. Pretty much everybody behaves the same way under torture, so the person becomes dehumanized. They're just like an automaton. You know how they're going to react, so it's almost like they're a robot. They don't do anything out of the ordinary during the torture. So interesting stuff to know.
Klaus says, where is she now? She is in prison and she is never getting out. And she'll be alive for a long, long time, I would imagine, because she was only 30 or 31 when she got arrested. Camp Guy said, wow, this sounds worse than Aileen Wuornos. Yeah, I mean, Aileen Wuornos, as shitty as what she did was, I kind of sort of tiny bit feel bad for her. But she was like horribly abused and all this other kind of shit. Like, she had a shit ass life. This chick, no excuse. Like, she really had no reason for doing the shit that she did. She was just a fucking psychopath. She just did it because she wanted to. She thought it was a laugh. And she really didn't have any reason. And once she started doing it, she wanted to get that high again. Like, she just wanted to escalate it. So, it's a terrible person. And she's really in the best place she can be. And she's continued to, like, cause trouble in prison also, which we'll get into. But she's in prison. So let's talk about this insane woman. So Joanna or Joanne, not sure, Dennehy. She was born in 1982. She was actually born in St. Albans in Hertfordshire and grew up in Harpenden. And by all accounts, she was an adorable child. They had like pictures of her like from school when she was like, she looked like she was about 5 or 6 or something like that. A beautiful little girl. I don't know what the fuck happened, but you know what I mean?
Looks aren't everything.
True. But and they use that picture a lot, like in the media in the UK, because they're like, look, she looks like a little angel, and it's like, look at what she fucking did when she got older. It's fucking crazy. Like, you never know. But according to everybody, like all her family and everything like that, she actually had quite a normal childhood. Kind of privileged. I feel like her family was kind of middle class. Her dad, I think he started out as a security guard and then he worked for BT, like British Telecom is I think what that stands for. And her mom, I think managed a grocery store, if I'm remembering that correctly. So, they had a decent house, like they went on holidays, like, normal middle class upbringing. She had a sister named Maria who was 2 years younger than her. And the sister said, we were kind of spoiled, actually. We had everything we wanted. And the sisters even kind of had like a little secret language when they were kids. And she actually thought her sister was like pretty cool. They were pretty close. Joanna, when she was younger, she had actually expressed interest in becoming a lawyer, like when she grew up. And her parents even paid like for extra schooling and extra classes that she wanted, like along those lines, so she could like get ahead. You know what I mean? So, like I said, pretty normal. However, for whatever reason, once she hit her teenage years, I heard different things either from 13 to 15. So I'd imagine like puberty or a little bit after. So maybe some hormones had some shit to do with it. Because like I said, most people said in school, at least as a little girl, she was normal, sweet, very smart, actually. They said she did really well in school. She played netball, just normal. But when she was a teenager, between 13 and 15, everything very quickly started to unravel. She started drinking heavily. She started taking drugs, hanging out with kind of just petty criminals, things of that nature, just rebelling, running away from home, shit like that. And at age 15, she actually ran off with her boyfriend, John Trainer, who was 21 at the time. Her parents were mortified, of course, and were just kind of like, they were trying to get her to come back. They didn't want to lose her. They knew she was troubled. They wanted to help her. And so they were just kind of like, well, why don't you bring him to meet us? It's like, you know what I mean? They didn't love it that he was like that much older, but they didn't want to, you know, turn her away or anything like that. So they were thinking maybe by establishing a relationship with him, they could kind of intervene. But she was like, no, fuck that. And she just took off. So the two of them actually had 2 children together. So yes, this bitch has kids. Which is, I'll get into that a little bit later. It's kind of a sad story, but well, I mean, it's not terribly sad, but I thought it was like a little bit. But so the first daughter was born when Joanna was 17. That was in 1999, and then she had another daughter about 2 years later. Now, according to John Trainer, he said that her reaction to motherhood was like fury. Like she had not wanted children. And she was like just really angry. And they said like after she had the kids, like her drug use and alcoholism got even worse. And she started doing like a lot more self-harm. She would like cut herself on the neck and on the arms and on her stomach, like with
Why
a
did
knife.
she have it?
I don't know.
He made her have it?
I don't know if he made her have it. I don't really know what the situation there was.
I think
It's
England
like,
has abortion, doesn't
well,
it?
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like, so I don't really know how difficult it would have been like to get an abortion. I mean, it was the 90s for heaven's sakes. So you'd think it would have been easy. But I don't know.
He must have wanted her to do it.
Maybe he wanted her to have kids, or maybe he thought it would settle her down. I'm not really sure. But yeah. And actually, he said later that when she came out the hospital after having the kid, she was like, the first thing she said was like, I want to go get stoned.
Yeah.
Which is like, mother of the year, you guys. So yeah, so during all this time, during her teenage years and into her early 20s.
Jordy sounds like a sociopath.
Yeah, and like I said, it seemed like her sister even said later on, and her sister, who was 2 years younger, she was actually quite successful. She went into the army, and then like after that, she worked in IT and had a normal life and pretty successful, like I said. And she was just like, I don't understand what happened. She's like, she was just so normal, and we were so close when we were kids, and it's like she turned into a teenager, and bam, she was just like, she turned into a monster.
Hormones, drugs, bad influences from hanging around bad crowds. Her Overton window got too big too quickly. She went feral.
Yeah,
and her reaction to freedom wasn't good.
Yeah, it definitely does seem like that. But they said it was like pretty sudden that
she
it
had
like
to have
happened.
Discipline. She didn't have it.
Yeah.
Some women need a strong hand. If not, they don't think you love them, so they go nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure about this chick though.
Yeah.
Like I think this chick, where you come down, like the nature nurture debate, obviously it's always going to be the 2 sliding scales. I don't think it's ever 100% one thing or 100% the other thing. This woman, I do think, is way more on the nature scale. I think there was something fundamentally wrong with her brain that I'm thinking perhaps puberty triggered, because like I said, by all accounts, she was a completely delightful child. And then suddenly when she was a teenager, she just turned into a completely different person.
That may not have happened if she was under restrictions, though, because she might have been able to get past it. So if they were to keep her locked down for a couple years, maybe by the time she was 17 or 18, maybe she wouldn't have gone that direction. Because then she would have instituted some self-discipline.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way of knowing.
Some kids, they hit puberty. That's the beginning of their criminal career. They never come back.
Because, I mean, her sister was, ostensibly raised in the same environment, and her sister turned out fine. So
she didn't run away and wasn't living with ruffians and shit.
Yeah, but what made her want to do that in the first place is what I'm asking.
Just wild hair, hormones.
Yeah, I guess so. Like I said, it does definitely seem to be like that. And
then when somebody doesn't go out and get her and bring her back, then she goes, well, they don't give a fuck about me anyway.
Well,
So
they
they're not
did. I
ready
mean,
for
her
it.
parents did like try to help her and like stuff like that, but
Yeah, but they're
she just
kids.
like fuck off,
They're kids, and they have unrealistic expectations.
Well, yeah,
They're like, well, they didn't come in here with an army tank and a whole bunch of troops and shit. They don't give a fuck.
yeah.
You know, they're kids. They're stupid.
Well, yeah, kids are generally pretty
Yeah.
stupid. They haven't
Yeah.
figured shit out yet.
Nah.
That's just, you know.
And some are stupider than others.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's kind of true of
Yeah.
everybody.
When I was working in the horse industry, you see these little girls fucking going through all that, teenagers and shit. Some of them getting in trouble. Some of them are no trouble. Some of them, you know, going through all that, and they're just reasonable the whole way through. Other ones just go off a deep edge.
Yeah. Well, yeah, everybody's different.
They're all different.
And
yeah.
like I said, I don't ever think it's 100% nature or 100% nurture. I always think it's a combination, but obviously it's always a different combination.
Yeah.
And I think this chick's problem, I think, was way more on the nature scale than
Yeah.
the nurture scale. I'm just saying that. And I think that the drugs and alcohol didn't cause it, but I think they exacerbated it big
Yeah.
time. You know?
Yeah.
So by the time she was, about 20 years old, she had been in and out of juvie, like when she was a teenager, burglary, assault, that kind of stuff. She carried a knife everywhere, shit like that. Now, from her time in and out of juvenile detention, she was assessed by various experts and stuff, and they described her as narcissistic, manipulative, lacking empathy, and prone to explosive anger.
Klaus is saying Jonah's never getting out. No,
she's
No.
never getting out. Yeah, she got a whole life
Yeah.
tariff. One of very, very, very few women in the UK to
Yeah.
have that.
yeah,
And that just means we don't really have that in the US. I mean, we do have a life sentence, but usually it's like they'll pile life sentences like on top of like we got 200 years or something like that. That way, you're never getting out.
it
But
depends on the state.
it depends on the state. Like it's all different.
In the South, when they mean life, they mean life. There's no parole.
But a lot of
That's how
times
they-
when they say life, they'll be like,
Yeah.
well, life with a possibility of parole after X number of years.
That tends to be northern states.
And
yeah.
that's usually what the
Yeah.
UK does.
Yeah.
But in some instances, if shit was really egregious, then they will give you a whole life order or a whole life tariff, which means you are going to prison and you were never getting out. You
Yeah.
don't have the possibility of parole.
Yeah.
And it's very unusual. Actually, she is one of only 4 women in the United Kingdom that has a whole life tariff.
In
4.
the South, we
That's
got
it.
hundreds of them.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's
Hundreds of them.
not
And
anything
we
to
got
be
some
proud
of them
of.
on
is it?
death row. There's one woman on death row in Louisiana. She was a cop, and her boyfriend robbed a store, and they executed everybody in the damn fucking freezer in downtown New Orleans. I remember when that happened. And because she was a cop, they gave her death. She's on death row, and they mean it. They're gonna kill her, and she may still be alive. I don't know, but that was a long time ago that happened. That was the early 2000s. But the U.S. has got death too, and everybody who gets death deserves it. Fucking, the crimes are fucking hair raising.
So, I mean, it probably shouldn't come as any surprise to anybody that her relationship with John Traynor, her boyfriend, and the guy that fathered her children, was very, very volatile. I think they broke up and got together 3-4 times at least. They were always fighting. She was constantly cheating on him with men and women. Self-harm, like I said. She also reportedly, according to a neighbor, said, oh, they were always screaming at each other. And she also beat him with a cricket bat on at least one occasion, like out in the yard. And the neighbor saw that. So I was like, great. And she almost, I think, pushed one of the kids down the stairs when she was 3. So because of all this, like I said, the two of them broke up and got back together. Like I said, it was a very, very unhealthy relationship. He was way older than her and all this other kind of shit. And she was just a fucking crazy person. So he eventually was like, this is not getting any better, clearly. So he thankfully took the children and took the fuck off in 2009. And basically said she's drunk and high all the time. She leaves for days at a time. We don't know where she's at. She tries to beat she's super, super aggressive and super violent, throws shit, tries to beat on him and all this other kind of crap. I think maybe he kind of punched back at her too, but in this case, I'd be like, she probably had it coming. You know what I mean? So yeah. Now, the children, I don't think they ever saw her in person ever again, which thank God, you know what I mean? Now, sadly, when Joanna was arrested in 2013 and her face was all over the news because it was a massive fucking story, you know what I mean? One of her daughters, her older daughter, who was then 13, asked her dad if she was going to turn out to be a serial killer too, like her mom. And I was like, oh, that's fucking heartbreaking. Hopefully the kids are okay. I'm not going to pry and like figure out, you know what I mean? But I did see that and I was like, man, that's really fucking sad.
Nah, our kids will be all right.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Because like I said, they were pretty young, I think, when I think the older one was 9 and the younger one was 7, like when he took off and he raised them on his own, like with his family. So hopefully they're doing all right, you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna like pry and like see where they're at or nothing like that. So later on, right around this time, Joanna met one of her partners in crime, Gary Richards, better known as Gary Stretch. They called him Stretch because motherfucker was 7'3", like big dude. Now he had his own criminal history. It was petty shit mostly. And he was completely besotted with her, for whatever reason. Now, I am going to say, to be charitable, he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, okay? I'm going to say that. I believe he had a wife and kids prior, but just eventually kind of drifted into petty criminality. On one documentary, they said it was mostly like theft and shit like that, you know what I mean? They said one time he broke into a shop, I think, and stole like a single piece of chocolate or a single chocolate bar, and that's it. And also he left his fingerprints all over the shit, so like they caught him. So like I said, not Einstein is what I'm saying. And he was like such a simp for this chick that he, even after they were both arrested and in prison, he kept writing her these fawning letters, like they showed some of them on the documentaries, and still claiming that he would do anything for her. He would do anything she said. And everybody that knew him said that all she had to do was say, jump, and he said, how high? Crazy. But like I said, he was kind of, I feel a little bit sorry for him. Not that sorry, because he should have known better. But he was kind of dumb. And everybody said he was like super, super insecure because he was like this, you know, super tall and he'd always been made fun of. And so I think like somebody like her, like paying attention to him, just glitched out something in his brain and he just followed her around like a puppy dog.
Needs some female attention.
Yeah, clearly. Unfortunately, he picked the worst female that he could possibly pick.
Well, she picked him.
Yeah, because of that.
Because of his weakness.
Well, I guess she was not dumb. I will say that for her. Like, she was like very shrewd. And she absolutely knew who she could manipulate.
You ever see that Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger? She's like that sorceress made Minotaur. Remember the mechanical Minotaur to do her fucking bidding? That's what she did.
Yeah.
Row the boat, Minotaur. Yeah.
Yeah, she's kind of like that. Granther says, I do feel sorry for the kids of serial killers. They had nothing to do with it but pay the price until they die. Yeah, I mean, shit, man. It's bad enough if you're the kid of someone famous, just famous generally.
Yeah, it doesn't
But
doom
to be
them.
famous for something like that.
It doesn't doom them. This is the age of social media.
But,
fucking, you know, BTK's daughter's doing well. She's actually been on some TV programs. I think she's done some social media
I feel like it's better to probably just lean into it.
Yeah, you gotta look at
because they're gonna find you eventually. I hate to say.
The proper response is to go on shows and talk about it, about what a dick he was.
Yeah,
and you'll have all kinds of fans.
Yeah,
you didn't do it.
Yeah,
you know, and everybody wants to know what was that motherfucker like.
Yeah,
you know.
And I can get why that would be exhausting because sometimes you maybe just want to be a normal person, and you know that's you know you don't want everybody to know who you are, but
you're still a normal person.
Yeah,
the era of celebrity like that is kind of fading.
True.
Only celebrities are like from a long time ago. Everybody now has a social media presence. You know, even people who are just come on to shows have a social media presence. It's right there in the comment section. and your Facebook and shit like that. Shit, it's just a new way of communicating, and you can't run. If you want to be on social media, you're going to be in it. It's probably better to be in it than to not be in it.
Because I feel like even if you try to change your name and shit like that, somebody
Yeah.
is going to find out, like, sooner or later in this day and age.
Yeah, and I've never seen any hate directed towards the children of fucking serial killers. They were innocent. They didn't do anything about it. They didn't do anything.
I feel like now
nothing to hide.
occasionally I do see hate directed at the parents of serial killers,
Or the
especially
wife.
the mothers.
Yeah.
And sometimes the wives, oh, how could she not have known what was going on, blah, blah, blah. Which, again, not fair. So I guess it depends on the situation, but...
Depends on the situation. Some, the wife was in on it.
Well, yeah.
But most of them, I don't think they were. Like BTK's wife, I don't think she had any clue.
I don't think she knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not that weird. It just, like, depends on what kind of relationship you had. And it seems like they had a very traditional relationship where the dude just did his own thing and you didn't really question it. Like, he would go off to work every day and she wasn't, like, tracking him down. They didn't have fucking shit on your phone where you could track where they were and shit like that. She just thought he was at work, like normal.
Ted Bundy's mom turned out to be his grandma, and his sister turned out to be his mom.
Yeah.
That was just a weird situation. And I still don't think you could blame his grandma or his mom, because his mom was young when she had him, and she's just described mostly as just kind of like a non-entity.
Yeah.
That there wasn't really anything to her. Well, some people were like, well, maybe that's why Ted Bundy did all that. I don't think so.
Yeah, like I said,
there's a lot of people that came from that background.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are really quick to blame the moms, especially. And I'm just kind of like, in some cases, that might be warranted if the mom was abusive or the dad was abusive. But in cases other than that, sometimes you just get a bum kid. You know what I mean? It's like, it wasn't anything you did necessarily, or you could have done something different. It's like they probably feel bad enough as it is. Like, leave them alone.
Ted Bundy had a little bit above average intelligence. He looked decent for a serial killer, and that was his main weapon. All right, he was disarming in that way. His thing, what it really got down to, is that a good-looking girl dumped him. That's all. It was that fucking mundane. A good-looking girl dumped him, and he got cucked out and went into a depression and thought he wasn't worth anything. So he retaliated against all women that looked like that with long blonde hair. They all look like fucking Marsha Brady off fucking Brady Bunch. That's who he was after. Because he wanted to prove his physical superiority over these women, that he could do what he wanted with them, because he felt cucked out.
It's just so ridiculous.
No normal man reacts to that.
Well, no, of course not, because everybody gets rejected at some point in their life. Yeah. It's like if every time you got rejected, you just retaliated against everybody that looked like that, we'd all be fucking.
No matter what happens, if you lose a girl, it's your fault. You either picked the wrong one, you did the wrong thing, you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's still your fault. You picked that one, and she was actually looking at another one, and you didn't see it coming. You always own up. That's one thing you learn in a military situation. Your defeats are always because of you. You didn't train hard enough. You weren't good enough. You weren't prepared. You weren't watching. Shit like that. Never blame other people for your failures. It's always you.
Gramper says, Carrie Rader often has a booth at true crime conventions. Yeah, she really has. Yeah. I don't want to use the word embraced, but she at least, like...
She knows the market.
Puts up with it. And
she knows the market.
And she knows that people are interested. And like I said, it's probably better to just lean into
That's how you do it.
Because they're going to bother her anyways. So...
No, you might as well make money and become a persona and go to the crime festivals and fucking... Yeah, and be a person.
And it's not because people are curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Like what that would be like growing up with your dad being a serial killer and you didn't know until later.
I would look at it the same way she does, and I could just tell by hearing her talk. She's like, there's no reason to be fucking behind some kind of closet or be closeted about it. Just go out and talk about it and let everybody meet you and know that you're a normal person, you're a good person. Because I'm sure she's got a lot of fans.
Yeah.
They say that she's really nice, everybody likes her.
Yeah.
And she'll talk about her dad.
Yeah, like I said, it's not her fucking fault. It's not her fault. What her fucking dad did.
And people fucking take photos with her.
Yeah.
And it's not like she's not a freak.
No, of course not.
She's just BTK's daughter.
I mean,
it's just cool.
terrible people have children all the
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
and
yeah.
most of the time, those kids turn out completely fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just completely fine.
She's doing the best
Humans
thing.
are very resilient.
Yeah.
You know
Talk
what I
about
mean?
BTK. People want to know.
You know, and sometimes people have kids and are completely loving and
Yep.
everything to that kid, and the kid still turns out a fuck up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not entirely on you.
Yeah, the way she did it is very American.
Yeah.
That's the appropriate American response. Go to the convention. Yeah, make fans.
Camp Guy says, they say that Herb Baumeister's house was totally unkempt, stuff just sitting around on the floor.
Yeah.
His wife must have been kind of passive-depressive. Also, they only had sex like 6 times. Well,
he was gay.
Well, he was gay. Camp Guy said, my wife would bitch nag me until I picked it all up and fixed the decorations. Yeah. Actually, we watched...
the house was nice when they were together. It's when she left.
Yeah.
That it
Which,
went
you know, that's typical.
He turned it into his weird, creepy, gay death palace.
Yeah, that's what it was on, right?
His gay strangulation
We
palace.
just, last night, by the way, we watched that that new episode of Return to Fox Hollow. Is that going to be like a whole season, or was that just a one-off?
I think it's just a one-off.
I felt like it was just a one-off because they did have like a little bit of new information about a different suspect.
I didn't realize that 200 VHS tapes were missing. That he was.
Yeah. Remember they were supposed to be in the car like when he killed himself, and then they somehow disappeared.
Oh, so they didn't destroy? They have them?
No, I don't know. No one knows where they are. No one knows where they are.
The cops didn't get them?
I don't know if the cops got him and then one of the cops was like in on the shit and like hid them or something like that. That's what all the speculation's about, because they're like, we don't know where the fuck these went. You know what I mean?
Because they were snuff flicks, evidently.
Well, that's what Mark Goodyear said, that they were snuff movies.
Maybe he destroyed them and then killed himself, and they weren't in the car. Were they in the car when the body was found?
I thought they were in the car when the body was found. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since we did that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like I said,
they get his porn stash.
I mean, they did have some new information. Like I said, they had a new suspect who hadn't been named before, and they also had identified, I think, 2 new victims.
Yeah.
You know, through DNA. So they did have some new information to impart, but I wasn't sure because they listed it on Hulu as season 2, episode 1, and I was like, so is this going to be like a whole new season of this, or is this just a one-off? Because it seemed like it was just a one-off, but I don't know. But we watched it last night. It was like really interesting. Man, that Mark Goodyear person, I still don't know what to make of that guy. You know what I mean? I'm not actually sure if he knew anything or if he knew a little bit but is making it seem like he knows more just because he wants to be involved, or if he's more involved than people think, or I don't really know. Like, I can't really get a read on it.
The horror fan said that Ted Bundy's mom was sexually assaulted by her dad and got pregnant with Ted. I don't remember that.
Yeah, maybe so. Like I said, I'd have to look that up. I don't remember.
I don't remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, American Military said, I guarantee you those VHS tapes have those homicides recorded. That was Herb's porn stash. Yeah.
Porn stash, yeah.
Well, it's like I said, according to Mark Goodyear, I don't know how much, you know, you can put in what he says, because he does kind of make stuff up, I think, maybe. But he said very clearly that those were snuff films, like on those videotapes. That's what he said was on there. So,
well, he had a set and an indoor swimming pool. That'd be a great place to shoot.
If you were so inclined.
And he might have been
which Herb Baumeister was.
Yeah, and he probably told him that they were going to shoot some shit, you know what I mean? And then
allegedly
he'd drug them. Then he'd get into erotic asphyxia and shit. He'd record it, but then he'd end up killing them.
That's the thing, though.
That's right up his alley. That makes sense that he was doing that.
That's the thing that's crazy, though, is that because Herb Baumeister committed suicide, technically he was never convicted. And like I said, they're still, and this last show, they're actually talking about another suspect, a guy named Thomas Ackerman, who maybe did some of these or actually knew some of the victims and were the last ones to see them alive. Yeah. So they don't actually know if he knew Herb Baumeister, like they were working together. Because remember how in the first season they were talking about like, oh, he must have had help or he had an accomplice. And they were kind of sort of hinting that it might have been Mark Goodyear because he was kind of a weirdo. But in this one, they're like, they found this other guy that is like a much more likely candidate.
Yeah. They don't know if they were working together.
But they don't know if they were working together or not.
Could have been they were just hunting out of the same pool of male prostitutes.
Although the bodies did end up behind Herb Baumeister's house.
Yeah,
So
they both might have been renting those boys.
well, yeah, I'm sure they were.
You know what I mean? So
I'm sure they were.
some of them would have ended up at Herb's house. That's probably, but they might have been working together.
Yeah, it's
Nobody
possible.
knows.
That's kind of what they were. I don't
Yeah.
know if they were like implying that, but they were saying, well, that was like a possibility. But you know what I mean?
It's possible.
Yeah. I probably need another drink soon.
Yeah,
But
make one.
all right, thanks. All right, so where was I? Oh yeah, so I was talking about Stretch. Yeah. So yeah, that guy. He's also in prison. So the murders that she became most famous for, again, I do kind of feel like she usually gets referred to as a, female serial killer, but I think technically I would call her a spree killer, because usually serial killer would imply they kill somebody, there's a cooling off period for a few months or something like that, and then they do it again, and it's like they plan it and everything like that. Whereas this seemed like it was a lot more, I don't know if I'd call it disorganized necessarily, but it was a lot more off the cuff. Like it seemed like a lot more spur of the moment. And all of the 3 murders and the 2 attempted murders took place within like less than 2 weeks. It was like a 10-day period, I believe it was. So technically more of a spree killer, I feel like. So the murders happened between March 19th and March 29th of 2013. So, not that long ago. Now all 3 of the murder victims, she knew them. But the final 2 that she attacked and meant to kill, but survived, thankfully, were just random dudes who they were strangers to her. She didn't know them. Now she specifically always targeted men. She actually told one of her friends / accomplices that she didn't want to kill women, especially mothers, like women with children. Now, some have speculated that this reluctance to kill mothers maybe showed that she had like a teeny little kernel of empathy in there somewhere, since she was a mother herself. But I'm going to say, in my opinion, I think it's more likely that, just knowing what I know about her, I think she just felt that men were more of a challenge. And I think she enjoyed the power she had over them. She enjoyed that some of them were scared of her. And I guess I don't think she really got that charge from killing a woman. You know what I mean? But she never killed any women. She always targeted men. Also, she was a big fan of Bonnie and Clyde. And her goal, which she also told at least one of her friend's accomplices, that she wanted to kill 9 men, just like Bonnie and Clyde did. It was going to be her and Stretch, and they were going to go and that was her target. That was her target goal, her murder goal. Yeah. So yeah, but she basically told, she was analyzed by psychiatrists like many, many times. And she told them that killing was just entertainment for her, and that the more you did it, like it was like addictive, like you just wanted to keep doing it again. So, you know what I mean. So the first person that she killed that they know of was a young man. He was, I believe he was 31. I think he was in his 30s, named Lukasz Slaboszewski. Now, he was from Poland originally. He had moved to the UK temporarily. I believe his sister lived in London, and he had come there like looking for work for a little while, and he was going to make some money and then, move back to Poland or whatever. And he, a little bit of a druggie, you know what I mean? And he kind of hung out in some of the same circles as Joanna did, because she was also a druggie. And so they kind of met up somehow. And so they kind of started hanging out for a few days. And I think from what I could determine, she was trying to make him think that she wanted to like date him, or like a relationship was possible. You know what I mean? He was a good looking young, about the same age as her, like maybe a year or 2 older.
Yeah, he looked like a plausible boyfriend, actually.
Yeah. Like not like the other dudes she targeted were significantly older. But this guy was like her age, and kind of a pretty handsome
Looked like she'd like him,
dude. Yeah. So they'd been kind of going out. I think they'd been going out drinking and shit like that, like a couple of times. Now, on or around March 19th of 2013, Lukasz got a text. Like, she'd been, like, kind of sending him, like, flirty texts and stuff like that. And she sent him one on this particular day that was pretty straight up, like, saying, hey, come over for sex. I mean, essentially. And he really did think, because I do believe that he had texted a friend of his back in Poland saying, "Oh, I met this really nice British girl and it's like I really like her," and all this other stuff. So he clearly thought that this was relationship material. How wrong he was. But he didn't know. Like I said, he'd only known her a couple of days, right? So he gets some text from her basically like saying, "Hey, come over for some sexy time." And he's just like, "All right, I'm coming over right now." So she lures him to this property in Peterborough, um, which was owned and managed by Kevin Lee, who, spoiler alert, will be her third murder victim. But we'll get to that in a minute. So once Lukasz got there, she basically, I believe she blindfolded him. I think they were kind of playing a sex game or something like that. And then I believe he was laying on the bed, and she just stabbed him through the heart. Boink.
Damn.
I saw the crime scene photos of, not the body, but I saw the crime scene photos of the mattress that he had been stabbed on, which she just, like, left out by the side of the house with fucking blood all over it. So, you know, that's nice. But yeah, I believe she only stabbed him one time, but that was all it took, because she got it right in the right spot. She had a big ass knife that she took with her everywhere. She had it tucked into her boot, and so she was just playing around being like, "Hey, we're gonna have sex or whatever," and then she was like, chunk, and just like put it right in his fucking chest and killed him. And then she takes his body and puts it in a garbage can. What in the UK they have given the adorable name of a wheelie bin. I love that they call it a wheelie bin. It's the, you know what I mean? It's the, you know, the garbage can on, like the one we have. It looks exactly the same as ours, like that you put out on the curb.
Yeah, Lake County.
They call it a wheelie bin.
Yeah,
over there.
That's a good way to put it.
So she put it in a wheelie bin, and for like a couple of days. And she had this other friend that kind of lived in this property. It was it looked like kind of sort of like an apartment building kind of thing, but it was like rooms, like a bunch of people like lived there, you know what I mean? And she knew of this 14-year-old girl that lived there, and she like took this 14-year-old girl and was like, "Hey, I'm going to show you something cool." And she shows this 14-year-old girl the body in the wheelie bin. Damn. Look at that. I killed that motherfucker.
Damn. What'd she say?
I don't know. She's like, what the fuck, probably. She was just like backing away slowly. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know why nobody did anything about it. Maybe, I don't know if the girl told somebody else and like no one did anything because they didn't take her seriously or whatever. But yeah, so after a while, like after a day or two, she's like, "Oh, well, I guess I probably can't leave him in the wheelie bin." You know what I mean? So let's leave him in the wheelie bin. So probably I need to dispose of it. So she calls up her buddies. She calls up Stretch and I think one other dude whose name was Leslie, I think his name was, and was like, "Hey, can you guys help me get rid of body? Thanks." So they basically took his body out to the fens, which are like these big, there's like big, like dense fields of like different plants and stuff with like these little irrigation canals. And they're all over this part of England, and just dumped him out there. Now, Lukasz had been reported missing by his friends and by his family, including, like I said, he had a sister in London because they hadn't heard from him for a few days. But at first they just thought, oh, well, he's just living here temporarily. He's an immigrant. You know what I mean? And they didn't think, and he was a druggie and stuff like that. So they're just like, oh, well, whatever. He probably just wandered off. So they didn't really like investigate to any great degree. Now, so that was going on. I don't think anybody found the body for a little while. And then on March, I believe it was 28th or 29th. I don't really remember which. But Joanna decides she's going to kill her housemate, I guess. His name was John Chapman. Now, he was 56 years old. He had been in the British Navy. He'd been in the Falklands War, actually. Like, he was a veteran of the Falklands War. And he lived in the same building. Like I said, they lived in bedsits. We don't really have that over here, or we don't call them that. Because I always thought, well, is that's like a studio apartment? Kind of. Because, like, in the US, like, a studio apartment is something with, like, the living room and the bedroom is just one big room, but then it has, like, a little kitchen and a little bathroom.
Yeah.
Whereas a bedsit is basically just a living room bedroom combo. Sometimes it has, like, a hot plate or a microwave, but it doesn't have a kitchen and it doesn't have a bathroom. You usually share the bathroom with other rooms on the hall.
That's renting a room.
So it's like renting a room, kind of.
Yeah.
That's what she lived in.
And usually when that happens in the U.S., that's not in an apartment. That's in a house.
Yeah, that's usually in a house that's been converted.
Yeah, into something that's, your landlord is renting out different rooms.
Yeah, so that's what, it's just that over there, we do that here too, but over there they have a name for it. It's called a bedsit.
Yeah.
Like bedroom, sitting room. That's why they call it that. And it doesn't usually have its own kitchen. Sometimes it has a kitchenette, but it almost never has its own bathroom. Like, it usually just has a shared bathroom, like for the hall or whatever. So that's what she lived in. So there was a bunch of other people living there. So this guy, John Chapman, lived in the same, like, lived in another room, like, down the hall from her. And he was sadly a bad drunk. Like, he would drink so much that, like, you know, he would pass out, you know what I mean? And so she decided that she was going to kill him too. Because, you know, it'd been a few days since she'd killed the last guy. So she was just kind of like getting antsy, I guess. So she decides she's going to kill him. And she waited. I think she went to his house and they were drinking together. And she waited until he passed out. So the poor man was like, and he wasn't in great shape either.
He was a rough 54.
I mean, he did 56. He was 56.
God damn.
I mean, he looked about like a 56, like an average 56-year-old would look, I guess, for that time. That was a drunk. But yeah. So I think she waited until he had kind of passed out, and then she just jumped on him and started fucking stabbing him.
Yeah.
So she stabbed him 1 time in the neck, and then 5 times in the chest.
He didn't know what hit him.
He didn't. I mean, thankfully.
He's probably drunk off his fucking rock.
Well, that's what everybody thinks, that he was just like drunk off his ass.
He had no idea he had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
And he was not in good shape.
No. And she then called up Stretch.
Yeah.
And Leslie Layton, who was another guy who lived in that same building, to help her move the body. Now, a couple of documentaries I saw said that when she called Stretch to ask him, she sang "Oops, I Did It Again." When did that song come out? That was before 2013, right?
Another lunatic, Britney Spears.
Right? She sang that. So you see how glib like she is about the whole thing.
She's full of shit.
Now, she later said that she had decided to kill John Chapman, and I think this is probably a bullshit reason. I mean, I think she probably just made this up. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying that I don't think she needed a reason. So she said she was mad because he had walked in on her when she was in the bathroom, because everybody on the hall like shared a bathroom, right? There was only like one bathroom, I think, like on the hall where the other rooms were. And he like walked in on her like he was peeping on her or something like that, and that made her mad. So she decided to kill him. Now, whether this is true or not, nobody knows but her. I kind of suspect it's probably a bunch of bullshit. Like I said, she was known to be a pathological liar, so she might have just made that up. I will also note that a friend of John's, who also lived in the same building, who was a woman, said that even before, like way before the murder, she said that John had told her that he was terrified of Joanna, and that he thought that she was going to do something to him. And it was really weird because this friend, who, like I said, was a woman, always thought Joanna was like super polite and pleasant and didn't think anything about it. It's like she didn't think there was anything weird about her. She's like, I always said hi to her in the hall and shit like that. But she's like, man, John was like terrified of her and we couldn't figure out why. So obviously this chick acted a lot different toward women than she did toward men. You know what I mean? But yeah, like it was kind of sad because after it happened, like after she murdered him, this woman felt really bad. She's like, man, if we'd have known, like, we didn't know she was a fucking serial killer. You know what I mean? Like, how would you know that? She's like, we would have had him come live with us or stay with us, like, to keep him safe or whatever. But it's like, we didn't know. We just thought she didn't act like that toward them. So they didn't realize, like, why he was so freaked out by her. Now, Leslie, one of the accomplices, like I said, he didn't help. None of her accomplices, her male accomplices, helped her kill anybody. She did that all on her, all by herself. But they would just jump to, like, whenever she needed a body disposed of. You know what I mean? Now, apparently, Leslie also took a photo of John Chapman's body, like, before they dumped it, which I don't know why he wanted to save it or put it up on his social media. Look what we did. What the fuck? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with these fucking people. You know what I mean? So they take the body out to a ditch, like near where they had dumped Lukasz's body, and they put it all. It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of out in the fields. You know what I mean? And you can't really see it, like, from that, because the plants are kind of high. So they dump him out there, like, not that far from the first one. Now, not too long after that, it was either the same day or the next day, March 29th. She decides she's going to kill again. So, like I said, they're getting closer together right here. So she decides the next person she's going to kill is her 48-year-old landlord and affair partner, lover, I guess, whose name was Kevin Lee. Now, Kevin Lee was married, like, he had a wife, he had a couple kids also, and he was a property developer and a landlord. He owned a company that was called Quicklet, and basically he owned a bunch of properties that he would rent out, like bedsits and things like that, or in small apartments, that he would rent out to vulnerable people that were poor, people that were just coming out of jail, like shit like that. And he had been running this business, like, for quite a long time. And he had a business partner too, but I can't remember what the dude's name was. So he actually, when Joanna came to him needing a place to live, he felt really bad for her and wanted to give her a chance. Like I said, she's very manipulative, and she's very, very, very good at getting dudes to do whatever she wants them to do. I don't know how she does it. It's some kind of fucking magic, but she did it to, like, multiple dudes.
Pussy power.
Pussy power. Like I said,
these dudes weren't getting any.
It's a magic twant, is all I'm saying. Now, so he lets her move into one of his properties for free. And they also start boinking, which his wife did not know about at the time. I think she got kind of suspicious, like, later on. But I think it went on for a few months. So there was 2 rooms or apartments or whatever that he would let her stay in for free, and he would loan her money. Like, I think even one time he loaned her money, like, she said she needed to buy a car. I don't think she ever bought a car with it, but he's like, here, have some car money, like, because he was doing, I mean, he wasn't rich, but he owned businesses, like, he was doing okay, and he would, like, give her gifts and shit like that. Interestingly, during their relationship, he compared her to a cross between a Kill Bill character and the Terminator. Because he said she could be really charming and personable, and she could sound really intelligent and well-read and everything like that. And then, like, on a dime, she could turn into this cold-blooded, like, and they said it was, like, scary to witness. Like, her first boyfriend, the father of her children, said that too. That it's like one time, like, she would just go completely blank and cold, like it was the freakiest shit you ever
Guaranteed, saw. Just sociopaths.
Yeah, definitely.
Do that. It's play acting and performance. She's performing.
Yeah.
Trying to impress other people.
Yeah. So Kevin had also hired her, along with Stretch, who, remember, was a big 7'3" ogre, to basically intimidate tenants who were late on the rent. Like, if he didn't want to go around and, like, kick someone out, like evict someone or, like, go collect money, he would send her and him, and that would solve the problem. Like, because apparently she was really mean and he was really big. So, you know what I mean? So he hired them to do that.
He was the backup. He was the muscle.
Yeah. That's what he was like her goon. You know what I mean? Like her goon squad. Now, interestingly, when Joanna first rented a room from Kevin, because remember I said, like, he said, oh, he felt so bad for her. In reality, she had just gotten out of jail, but it was like some bullshit. Like, it was only like a month or something like that. Like, for theft. It was like some petty theft or something. But she told Kevin that she had just gotten out of jail. She had just served 8 years for killing her father, who she claimed had raped her and abused her all through her childhood. This was not true. And in fact, her father was still alive at the time. She also told him that she had burned 2 people to death by setting their house on fire, and that she had killed 2 people by running them over with a car. None of this was true either. So it was clear that she was just trying to show off like how scary or badass she was by making up these ridiculous stories. So yeah, but like I said, she said that her family has said, no one abused her. She had a completely normal childhood. I mean, yeah, they would have some, even if somebody did abuse her, they would obviously have reason for saying that. But she didn't kill her dad. Her dad was still alive. Her dad, as a matter of fact, I saw an interview with her dad and her mom, like on one of the fucking documentaries, you know what I mean? So he was still alive when they made that documentary a couple years ago. So yeah, she didn't murder him. But she was trying to make herself, she had just gotten out of jail, but it was just for some bullshit, petty nothing, you know what I mean? So she lured Kevin to her flat with the promise of more sexual favors. They had been having a sexual affair for, I think it was like a couple of months or something like that at this point. I believe that she texted him that she was going to dress him like a woman and rape him, which was apparently something that they were into, or that she was into, and I don't know. Now, a couple documentaries that I saw, actually more than one documentary that I saw, said that she dressed him as a woman after she killed him. But I find this harder to believe because I saw the evidence photos of the dress, like that they took off the body, and there are clear signs of knife tears. Like you can see stab in the dress. So obviously he was wearing that when she stabbed him. And one of the documentaries I saw said, no, he had texted his friend and said, ooh, Joanna invited me over. It's like she's going to dress me up as a woman or rape me. Ooh, hoo, hoo. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing, which is a weird thing to say to your friend, but maybe it's a close friend. I don't know. So he's like, ooh,
he's into pegging.
Like
culture.
he was into that. He was into that. So, and he thought it was funny that like he was like, so he was texting his friend to tell him, it's like, ooh, we're gonna go over and have a good time. You know what I mean? So,
which dude was this again? The
landlord.
The landlord guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that they were, and they've been having a relationship. So I feel like
he doesn't look like the kind of guy that if you.
They never do.
They never look.
They never. It's always people you least expect. You know what I mean? But that he'd be into that. But yeah, evidently he was. Or she made him be into that. I'm not really sure. Because that sounds like more her thing, to be honest.
Might have been the only way he was going to get any.
I kind of feel like maybe that's what it was.
Was she pegging him or just dressed him up?
I don't know.
Okay.
I imagine she was probably pegging him. That sounds like some shit she would do.
Some shit she'd be into, yeah.
But yeah, because she seemed to really like to have power over men. Like that seemed to be like a big thing for her. Like she got way off on that. So yeah. So he goes over to the house, and like I said, they had been having sex like for a month or 2 months or something like that. So he wasn't expecting anything horrible to happen because it's like they had been doing this for a while, you know what I mean? And he's just like, woo, good times, like in the fucking whatever. I'm gonna get pegged in a dress, which no judgment, whatever you're into. So so he goes over there. She gives him one of her dresses, which was a black sequined number.
He fit in that shit?
That's what I was thinking, because I was like, I'm looking at the two, because you know what? I thought the very same thing. Because I saw the dress. I saw some pictures of, I didn't look at like the graphic shit, but I saw like some pictures of the dress and like part of the body in the dress.
He's a dumpy middle-aged man.
And he was, he wasn't huge, like he wasn't fat.
But he's just
But he was clearly like quite a bit bigger than her. Maybe she bought it for him. I don't know. Like a lot of the documentary said it was her dress, and I was like, I don't know if that would fit him or not, because she was a lot smaller than he.
Yeah, that's weird. I think they're taking fucking license. She
bought a bigger one.
She must have bought that for him.
Mm-hmm. Which makes more sense. So she gets him there.
Bitch didn't buy it. She probably stole that shit for him.
Well, yeah, she wouldn't buy it.
Got that shit secondhand.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
she probably went to the like fucking Oxfam
Went to
and
the
stole
fucking
it.
flea market and got that shit.
They still have Oxfam over there. It's kind of like Goodwill, like over
Yeah.
here. Like it's a thrift store, you know what I mean? Like a charity.
The lady'd buy that shit for you. She's gonna fucking steal that shit. Go to the get that shit.
Yeah, why
secondhand.
why would she pay for
She's
anything?
never paid
She's
nothing.
just so she's just so used to
That
like
bitch
just
is-
stealing shit.
Yeah, that bitch was thinking about killing him anyway.
Yeah, and
She
like I
didn't
said,
love
I'm
it.
not really sure.
She was
Well,
using
no,
it for rent. She was using it for rent.
I
Free
don't
rent.
think she loved anybody
Nah.
ever. I don't think she's capable of it.
She was using that guy up.
I'm not really sure what the catalyst, if indeed there was one, for her to decide to kill him.
Wild hair.
Yeah, I think that seems like it's all it was. I
Yeah.
did see one documentary that said, oh, they'd had a fight about something, but I don't think that was the case.
And he was making sure her rent was paid for at one time.
Yeah,
When she still.
Well, yeah, she was
wouldn't she
living
be
in
thinking
his
if she-
properties
You would think that if I kill this dude, they'll replace the company will replace him with another
guy that's
and I'll
not
have to start
gonna
paying rent.
right.
Just stupid.
I don't think she was thinking that far ahead.
Yeah.
I think she just because she had killed John Chapman, her housemate,
Yeah.
just like the day before, and she was probably like, "Man, that
Maybe-
was so fun. I
Well,
want to
she-
do it
she wasn't
again."
a suspect was she a suspect?
No, nobody even knew
Yeah,
any
he
of
was
this was
dead.
going on because like they hadn't even found the bodies yet.
Okay. Then what that means is she knows she's gonna get caught, so she's just killing everybody she can before she gets caught. That's all it is.
Probably, yeah. She's like,
Don't
well,
read too much into.
I'm gonna
this
have all this fun before
they catch me.
I get busted.
Because this bitch is not smart. She's dumb. Okay, and she can't control her impulses. And when she killed that one, she knew that her time was short. That's how you explain it. So she's gonna kill every guy she can get her hands on. And then she's gonna grandstand and fucking talk about how awesome she is. Cause she's attention whore more than anything else.
Oh, big time.
She's more into the attention.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
So so she gets him over to the house. He puts the dress on. They do whatever they're doing, and then she just starts fucking stabbing.
Yeah.
He did kind of fight her at first, but she just stab, and she was like in a frenzy, and he started to bleed out or whatever. Like so, she ended up stabbing him 5 times. So she eventually got the better of him, and like he passed out, and then he died. And she left the dress on him. And she called up Stretch, and I think Leslie was in on this one too. And they took him to another ditch, which I think was about 8 to 10 miles from where they had dumped the other 2 bodies, but like in a similar kind of area. It's like this ditch that's in this fen. Like I said, it's like a big field or something like that with like high plants. And dumped him there. And when she dumped him, he still had the dress on, and she like rucked the dress up like over and like left his ass up in the air, like his bare ass.
Yeah.
Like to humiliate him.
Yeah.
Like left him like that.
Yeah. Made him. It's her bitch.
Yeah. I mean, that's, yeah.
Everybody else is a bitch too. Anybody who wants to jump in can.
Yeah.
See,
That's why she left it like that.
Of
That's why
course,
she left him like that.
Yeah.
Like she specifically said. I don't know if she did it or if she made her goons do it.
She did this shit.
But she's like, yeah, just leave his bare ass like sticking out with the
Yeah.
dress on.
Yeah.
So yeah. Kind of fucked up.
She thinks she's clever.
Yeah, I mean, she does. So Kevin's wife and his business partner, I believe, reported him missing on either March 30th or March 31st because they couldn't figure out where he was. That eventually led to the discovery of his body. They actually also found his car, which had been all burned out, like a bit later on. Now, a couple of days after the third murder, Joanna and Stretch picked up this petty criminal they knew named Mark Lloyd. He didn't know anything about the murders. He was just there because Stretch and Joanna had gone to this other town and had stolen a bunch of shit, and they knew that Mark would either buy it or knew somebody that would buy it. He was like a fence, you know what I mean?
Klaus is in there talking like he knows where she is. He's gonna go visit her in prison. Where's Anna? Where's your wife at? We need to get you some supervision. You don't want anything to do with this bitch.
What is it with some dudes that are just like the crazier they are?
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? I saw a documentary on this, and the first comment, like on YouTube, like on the bottom,
Yeah, I could fix it.
was, no, it wasn't that. It
Alright.
was, I love this woman.
Yeah.
Like, and I was just kind of like,
Nah.
okay,
No. If
you've got problems. Like I said, we did a whole ass show about hybristophilia, which is when
Yeah.
women sexually fantasize about serial killers. And I kind of feel like there's a male equivalent of that.
Yeah.
Like that love these crazy unhinged
Yeah.
women. Or I guess, you know, maybe it's the same for both genders. Maybe it's just the same. Like you want that excitement. You know what I mean? Because you never really know. They're like really unpredictable. They can flip out on you at any time, and that's kind of exciting. Maybe people just don't like to be bored. I don't really know. Why would you want to be with somebody that was just
I
like
don't know, that's a woman thing.
had you on like
I don't really feel it. I look at her and I was like, you know, I don't really feel
yeah.
it.
Well, I'm just saying I didn't say you. I'm
I
just
don't
saying
really
that it's
feel
like maybe it's the same kind of thing that makes hyperostophilic women go after serial killers. Because maybe it's like a weird, exciting, like unpredictability. That's like they don't want to be in like a stable, boring, quote unquote, boring relationship where it's like, oh, you know this person and they're not going to do anything bad. Maybe it's more exciting. They're thrilling to like to be with somebody that could just flip out and kill you.
If this bitch saw me at the club and knew my past and all the shit that I did, she'd fucking love me.
Yeah, she probably would.
She would, yeah. And then I'd beat the piss out of her and she'd love me anymore.
Probably.
And fucking, I'd achieve dominance and she'd think I'd be the man and this and that, the man of her dreams. The thing is that what would end up happening is a couple months later, I'd fall asleep around her and she'd fucking kill you in your sleep.
Well, yeah.
You'd go back, what he did, that motherfucker.
You couldn't sleep around this bitch.
Around her. Yeah, she's crazy.
Got to keep one eye open at all times.
Yeah. But no, this bitch would love me.
She probably would.
Yeah.
Scarily.
But I know better.
No.
I know better.
No.
I know that thought pattern. I know that type.
Yeah.
And
I've known a couple of chicks like this. Not murderers, obviously, but
she would kiss up and be sweet and I was just around bad people, you know, this and blah 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 and you know, come visit me, you know, I visit in prison and shit, you know what I mean? Fucking send me some muscle pictures, you know, all that kind. And the second she fucking got used to you and nobody was around, she started thinking, this bitch brought me into submission, he fucking pow, and she'd kill you.
Yeah, she would just stab you right in the fucking
right in the fucking heart while you were asleep.
You wouldn't even know what hit you.
You couldn't sleep around her.
No.
Because she can't change what she is. It's like that parable when you're swimming across and the scorpions go, no, take me across the lake. I'll be okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna sting you. You know what I mean? I drowned. You know, and then you taking a scorpion across the fucking lake, river, and just the scorpion starts stinging you, and you're going, what are you doing? I was a scorpion. You son of a bitch.
What did you think was gonna happen?
What did you think was gonna happen? Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, this type of chick, you can't fix this.
Oh,
no.
Why would you try to attempt it? It's deeply ingrained personality disorders. That's who she is.
Big time.
Yeah, you can't fix that.
And like I said, there's some personality disorders like this bitch has that you can't fix that. Which is why they're just like, just throw her in a prison and just don't ever let her out.
Yeah.
We're not gonna.
You could never turn your back on her.
We're not gonna deal with that. Yeah.
And you'd have to keep your thumb on her constantly.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just not worth it.
Why?
I don't really
That's not what a relationship's about.
Well, like I said, I don't really get, because I knew, and this is more when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's more a young person thing. Although I know some older people that are in some fucked up relationships too. But a younger person thing, I kind of feel like a lot of younger people feel like if there isn't like turmoil or big emotions or something like that, then it's not love or something like that. And it's just, and that leads to like a lot of really bad outcomes. And so I feel like there's a certain subset of people like that end up in these crazy, toxic, abusive relationships, and sometimes mutually abusive relationships. And then they just keep breaking up and getting back together and breaking up and getting back together. And it's just, I mean, we knew a couple that was like that. I mean, they've broken up now permanently, thank God. Yeah. But that was fucked up. And that wasn't her. Like, she's normal. It was him. But
there's another one, though, that it's her, that if you don't have your thumb on her constantly, then she doesn't think you love her. That's another weird one.
Yeah, so that's not quite, that was not quite as bad, like not quite as extreme as the other one I'm thinking about. Yeah. But yeah, it's just, I don't really get this pattern of, you know, breaking up, getting back together, and it's like, you know, they beat the shit out of you and you leave, and then it's like, you know, a couple months later, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. And
of course drunk. I said Anna, I met Tanya. Yeah. Tanya's sleeping. So when you're unsupervised, you start talking about going to fucking hanging out with these criminal chicks.
I mean,
You don't want that shit, man.
yeah, do what you want, but
She'd be in the
I wouldn't
visitation
advise
room,
it.
fucking slipping your thing.
I mean, if you get murdered, that's on you, man.
She'd be looking at you
know what
starry-eyed.
she know what she is.
She'd be all starry-eyed in the visiting room. I've changed. Yeah.
Bullshit.
No, that's just because she's locked up. The second she gets
Some
out.
people can change some.
No, this
to
is
an
who
extent.
she was.
But
This is who she was.
people like this,
Yeah.
no. And even if they could, you could never trust them again with something this extreme, like I said. So
I've known a lot of dudes that have been in and out of the joint, and the dudes are very different from the women. And also fucking family history, ethnic background, and culture has a lot to do with it. Dudes have a better chance of what they call rehabilitation, especially if the crime happened later in life. They had a decent upbringing. It was more situational than anything else, or professional. They were trying to make money at a certain time. They're around certain. It's called getting caught up. Some people just kind of get caught up.
yeah, I can see that. And they're not like a bad person.
They're not a bad person.
At
it's just
heart.
they got
It's just,
caught.
yeah.
This one's a bad one.
Yeah, this is just a bad person.
Yeah. She's not doing this for gain or self-defense, or
she's not
to
doing it
help
for
friends.
any reason.
This is sadism.
She's just getting off on it.
You can't trust.
She's enjoying herself.
Right.
And that can't be fixed.
Right.
Because like I said, I don't feel like she has any empathy at all, and I don't think if you don't have empathy by the time you're a teenager or an adult, I don't think you can gain it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I don't think so.
Yeah, but I got family members and friends that I know and shit that have gone through the prison system, and they turn out okay as long as it's something that was reasonable. If it's shit like this, or it's just from an early age,
no.
or it's fucking habitual, no. But if it's like a one-time thing, you know what I mean? That's not the same. A lot of these, if she was a male in the United States with this behavior pattern, she would have already had about 17 or 18 arrests before this shit happened.
I mean, she was arrested a bunch of times.
Right.
But it was just bullshit stuff. She was arrested for assault a couple times.
Just even the bullshit shit all counts.
Yeah.
You're a disturbed person who's antisocial. I hate to say that word because I'm not social. You're a person who's self-destructive. You're in constant fucking conflicts. You're looking for conflict. You're trying to make money through criminal behavior. That's another problem. And you don't have the connections to make money through criminal behavior. With stealing things is not, and robbing things is not a way to make money during criminal behavior. You're going to get killed doing that. The ultimate making money through criminal behavior is actually what looks like on paper conventional business practices and loans, and knowing how to use the banking system. And going bankrupt, and then fucking learn how to get out of that and going back.
Yeah, white collar crime.
Yeah, the white collar shit. That is what true organized criminal behavior is it's actually official. Those guys are criminals. I would consider them criminals. They have no intention of paying that money back, but that's the game. That's the game. They're going to take out big loans. And they're going to fucking run loans and do this and do that and use financial mechanisms. But you know what? That is the game. The banks that set all this shit up are doing the same games. But there is something about them that is very gangster-like. You know, gangsters are trying to be like that. They just don't have the social status. They don't have the right background. And me and Jen know them. You know, we're friends with them. They own businesses. They've owned they borrow a lot of money. They fucking run through a lot of whores. They fucking do all kinds of crazy shit. They're funny. They know they're going to go bankrupt. They don't care. That's part of the fucking game. They go, well, 7 years later, and my attorneys will all work it out. And we'll just do it again.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
They don't fuck.
They're just kind of like...
A gangster wishes he could do that. Like those Italian mobs, the gangsters that you would fucking see in the old, like the Goodfellas and all that shit. They don't have the connections for that. They're not from the proper social class.
Camp Guy says, a lot of women kill for money or insurance payouts. Men, not so much. Yeah. I mean, men do it too, but I think it's more common for women to do it. It's like, you're not supposed to be able to take out life insurance on somebody without their knowledge. Yeah, you can't. But there are ways to, I mean, you could fake their signature or something like that. There's
Yeah, you
ways
can
of getting
intercept
around
mail.
it. Yeah, there's ways of getting
All kinds
around
of
it, but it is harder. Like technically you're not supposed to.
You used to be able to take out life insurance on people taking air flights in the damn fucking airlines. Remember those?
Yeah.
You could do it
It
through
used to be
like
much easier. You could take
yeah,
out life insurance on basically anybody. They didn't
yeah.
even have to know
It was
about
an
it,
automated teller
which is crazy.
back in the '80s. You could fucking take out a life insurance on somebody taking an air flight. It was
It's like, hey,
creepy.
if they get killed.
They were betting against you.
Although I will say, I would not be shocked if there was not like some kind of online betting. Because you know how there's like those online betting sites? What's that one that's, I don't remember what the name of the main one is, but where you can bet on pretty much anything. Like if the outcome of games, like anything, you know what I mean? You can bet on pretty much anything. Like what's going to be the next, the hottest toy next Christmas or whatever. You can bet on anything. And I think it's all done with crypto. And so I wouldn't be shocked if there wasn't like bets for shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this new thing's gonna be launching. Like, how many people are gonna die? Or you know what I mean? Because you know it's the internet.
Graham
you know,
was talking about a friend of ours when we went to high school with Jace. That his girlfriend was Jace's fucking girlfriend was batshit crazy, and Steve sent me pictures of her that are recent from her social media. Totally unrecognizable. But she has serious problems. She had schizophrenia.
Yeah, that's no fun.
And it came on early in life. She was like a normal chick. And then all of a sudden she's riding bicycle with little girls, with little boys, riding bicycle with little boys and saying weird shit and got institutionalized.
That's what's so scary about schizophrenia is that you can grow up totally normal and then like your late teenage years, early 20s, bam.
That's when it happened.
Yep, that's very common.
And she started
that's when the onset is.
Yeah.
And it's sudden.
Yeah. And they can't take care of their health and they can't take care of them, so they're just
I used to be so fucking terrified of that. I saw a documentary about that when I was a teenager and I was like, holy crap. Because there's like really there is a genetic component, but there's really no way to know if it's gonna, I mean, I don't think it's like super, super common, but it's like, man, you don't fucking want that.
Yeah, he sent me pictures. He goes, guess who that is? And I'm going, I don't know who that is. She goes, and he told me who that was. And I was like, no. And I could see it and go, oh yeah, that is her. And it was amazing.
It's sad, really, because like I said, there's really nothing they can do about that except kind of manage it.
Yeah.
But all right. So where was I? Okay. So they so they pick up this guy Mark, who, like I said, he didn't know anything about the murders. He was just like some petty criminal that was gonna facilitate them offloading some stolen shit that they had taken. And they were in Hereford, where I've actually been, actually. So, nice little place. You know, I have actually been there. And so they're in Hereford. They're driving around. Stretch is driving, I believe. Joanna's in the car. Mark is in the car. And she decides, for whatever reason, that she's like, man, I wanna have some fun. I'm gonna kill a motherfucker. And Stretch, being the big dumb oaf that he is just kind of like, okay, well, we got to find somebody then. She's like, I just want to, it's like a random motherfucker, you know what I mean? So they start driving around looking for somebody. It's the middle of the fucking day. They're just driving around in the middle of the fucking day in Hereford, in England. And so they're driving around and they see a guy walking his dog, like you do in the day. And this guy was a guy named Robin Bereza. And he was actually, I think he was in his 50s or 60s. He was like a retired firefighter. He was actually a firefighter. He was just walking his dog down the fucking street like normal ass day, you know what I mean? She gets out of the car, runs up behind him, and just starts stabbing him in the back. Just like that. And he said later that he just thought somebody was punching him. Like he didn't know, because I've heard that from like people that have been stabbed. They said it feels like someone's punching you really hard. Like, so you don't actually know what's happening at first. Like that it actually, you know, that you were actually stabbed or like impaled because it feels like a punch. So she stabs him. He falls to the ground, obviously. She stabs him a bunch of times. And then she just like very casually is just kind of like, yep, okay. Well, and then she goes back and gets back in the car. And then they drive off, leaving the guy laying there in a pool of blood on the fucking sidewalk. So then she's like, okay, I want to do another one. She wants to do another one. So they're driving around, and Stretch's like, well, hey, there's one. You know what I mean? There's a guy. So here's a guy, again, in his 50s or 60s, older dude. And he was also walking his dog down the street in the middle of the fucking day, normal day. And she runs up behind him and starts stabbing. She actually stabbed him, I believe it was 20 to 30 times. She started stabbing in the back, and then he kind of fell like that, and then she started stabbing him in the front. Both his lungs were punctured, actually. And they interviewed him. I saw this documentary where they interviewed him. It's like, this is the most British thing I think I've ever seen. So they interviewed him, and he said, yeah, it's like, I felt something behind me. Like, I thought, like, it felt like a punch. And he's like, and I thought it was my friends, like, came up and was like fucking around. You know what I mean? Like, oh, punching me in the back or some shit like that. And then, like, he turned around and saw this girl, like, with his blood all over. And so he starts feeling dizzy, obviously, because all his fucking blood's coming out.
Blood pressure going down.
And, like, so he falls on the ground, and she just keeps on stabbing him. And then he said that she said to him, oh, look, you're bleeding. I'd better do some more. And then starts fucking stabbing him in the chest.
Imagine his head's fucking like, what the hell's she talking about?
And he's just like, what? He's like, what the fuck is happening? He's like, and he was like, so he said that after she said that, he said the most British thing ever. He was just like, could you just leave me alone, please? And I was like, oh my God, that is the Britishest shit that I've ever heard. Like, so polite.
What the fuck?
Could you please kindly stop stabbing me? Thank you very much.
It's genetics. Just different.
That's crazy.
It's just different genetics.
I think he didn't know what was happening. Like, he lost like so much blood, and he was just I was like,
don't just leave me alone.
That blew my. He seemed like such a nice man too, and I was just well, I mean, you're walking down the street. It's Hereford. It's like this. I've been there. It's like it's a really nice, town.
You're not on edge. You're not.
And
ready.
Yeah, you're just walking around, walking your dog. It's the middle of the day. It's like it's a normal. It's totally safe. There's hardly any crime. It's just totally normal. And all of a sudden, this crazy bitch just comes up and starts fucking stabbing you. It must be fucking surreal. Like, the dude was probably like, what the actual fuck is going on right now? Yeah. But it's like, I had to laugh, and it's funny because, like, a lot of people in the comments, like, said the same thing. They're like, oh my God, this is the most British thing I've ever seen. Where it's just kind of like, it's like, could you leave me alone, please? Yeah. Like, because she just kept stabbing him.
I know guys that have been stabbed, and they said the same thing, that they didn't know they were getting stabbed at the time.
Everybody that, everybody that I've heard of that's been stabbed and lived said the same thing. That's like, I thought somebody was punching me. Like, they didn't realize that anyone was stabbing
One guy
them.
I knew was getting stabbed in a fucking bar. And he just thought he's being punched. And he goes, damn, I pissed myself. He thought he had pissed himself. It was blood.
Yeah, it was blood, yeah.
Yeah.
Scary.
But then he could continue to fight through it. He drove the dude off.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, he didn't give up. It's just, you're giving up, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing with gunshots if you didn't hear the sound, because I've seen night vision video of guys getting popped, getting shot with suppressed weapons. And I don't think the guy realized he was shot, and they live longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The dude got hit and like walked around like,
what the fuck's going on? Yeah.
What was that? You know what I mean? And then starts, and I think if the same guy, if it wasn't a suppressed weapon, and if the same guy knew he had been shot up at close range, probably would have fallen immediately.
Yeah.
Because I think psychology has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, because sometimes if you don't see it happen, my grandmother told me this horrifying story where she was mowing the lawn one time, and she unknowingly like ran over something with the lawnmower that I think it was like a bottle, or I don't know what it was, but it was something that was like super sharp, and it came back in the blade and like cut her leg open.
Yeah.
And she didn't see it happen, and she didn't feel anything. She was just walking, mowing the lawn, and she's like, why is my shoe all full of water?
Yeah.
And she stopped, and there was just blood.
Yeah.
But she said she didn't feel a thing.
Yeah.
Because she didn't see it happen.
Same dude who got stabbed.
Yeah.
He thought he pissed himself.
That's crazy.
Blood, yeah.
But like I said, every single person that I've ever heard of that got stabbed and lived and like talked about it said exactly the same thing. They're like, I thought somebody punched me.
Yeah.
Or he just hit me.
Well, it's kind of surgical. It's not blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
So it doesn't hurt that much.
Yeah.
Which, good thing, because so many of them serial killer victim girls were stabbed to death. Doesn't hurt that much.
But I mean, they knew what was
They
happening
knew
to
it was
them,
happening,
though.
but
So
it doesn't hurt. Yeah. And if you use blunt force trauma, it knocks you out.
yeah.
So that doesn't hurt much either. It's just, especially when adrenaline and shit is going.
A lot of times, like when I read about some of these cases, especially where something like really fucking horrible like happened to the
Yeah.
victim, I'm always just kind of like, man, I just hope their fucking brain shut off, or
Yeah.
it was just so surreal that they were just like didn't even know what was going on, because I can't imagine
Well,
knowing what was going. In a lot of ways, it's worse when it's like prolonged,
that's what I
like
was
when they
saying.
keep
The
somebody
worst
alive
is
for a long
captivity, where they're in there for
when they keep
weeks
them
or
alive for a
days.
long time.
Yeah, yeah. It's much worse.
Like that's much worse because you know absolutely what's going on.
Yeah.
Like when they just kill you kind of quickly, like just not great, obviously, but it's just kind of like
At least it wasn't prolonged.
at least maybe you didn't suffer that long, or you didn't know what happened to you. So this guy, so I don't know, I just thought that was so, it was like kind of funny and like kind of charming at the same time, because he was just like so chill and like matter of fact about it. Now sadly he did survive the stabbing. They said amazingly, even though he'd been stabbed like 20-30 times and was bleeding everywhere, they thought he was dead. That's why she took off. Oh, she stole his dog too.
Yeah.
It's just
At least she didn't kill the dog.
she didn't kill the dog. The
Yeah.
dog was fine. But yeah, so she stole his dog just to be extra dickish. And they saw him, because they talked to Mark Lloyd later. I saw like a short interview with him too. Like the guy that was in the car that was like, what the fuck is going on right now? He had no idea like what the fuck was going on, like why he was with these people. And he's just like, the dude, he's like, I thought the dude was dead. Like he was just laying, there's blood everywhere. But he's like, the dude started crawling. So it's like this, he was an older man, he was like in his 60s. And he crawled, he was able to crawl like to this path that was like 100 yards or something like that. And somebody like jogged by or walked their dog by and helped him. And so they got him to the hospital. So he did live like through the stabbing. Unfortunately, I believe he died like about a year later, like from an unrelated illness. So he actually didn't live much longer, but you know, it was just, I'm still laughing about it. Can you leave me alone, please?
Yeah.
I was like, that made me so sad, but it was also like kind of funny, and I was just like, oh my god, that's the most British shit ever. So polite, even when you're being stabbed.
Can you leave me alone, please?
When you're being stabbed to death.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a spot of bother. But well, I mean,
The American response is, "You motherfucker, get the."
well,
fuck
see,
out of
well,
here."
that's why I was reading a really interesting thing about, because I really like British comedy, but a lot of Americans don't like it because a lot of American humor is very brash or like over the top, or they have to kind of signpost like
We
where
have
the
very
joke is.
Wet, very wet humor.
And
It's not dry at
British
all.
humor is very, very dry, very sarcastic. And their whole thing is like underreaction to something horrible, but overreaction to something small. Like, you know what I mean? So if you know that, like their shit's like a lot funnier. But so yeah, you could have like your head cut off and they'd just be like, oh, well, that's not ideal, is it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that kind of thing. Whereas if it's just some petty thing like a hangnail, they'll act like, oh my god, it's like the end of the world, I should call the UN or something.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? That's kind of what their humor is like. It's like opposite. But yeah, so that's why a lot of Americans tend not to like British humor. I do, because I get that. But you know, a lot of people don't. So that's why I thought that was funny, because I was like, it was just so you're being stabbed to death and you're just like, you know, can you not?
Yeah, you have to be careful being dry and clever around Americans, and especially in a bar situation. They might take it as an insult too, because some of it kind of sound because an American might read it backwards and go, "Wait a minute, you insulted me.
Well, and
now I have to kill you."
And Brits are very, their whole culture is like taking the piss. Like,
yeah, you don't do that.
You take the piss out of your friends because that's how you show your friends you love them, by you like kind of insulting them.
It takes a long time before you can take the piss out of an American.
Yeah, Americans will probably get offended.
Yeah.
We're very sensitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you can't do that in front of other people.
They're kind of less sensitive over there.
Yeah. Like you can take the piss out of your friend if it's in private. You can't do it in front because it's an honor culture. You're dishonoring him in front of other people.
Yeah. It's just a cultural difference, like I said. I found when I was in the UK, I found that people were a lot less sensitive over there. They were like just constantly taking the piss out of each other.
Yeah.
And being sarcastic and insulting. But it wasn't mean. Like they weren't mean-spirited. They were just fucking around. You know what I mean?
I was watching fucking a show about Motorhead and all the fucking Lemmy Kilmister and fucking Fast Eddie Clark and fucking Filthy Animal Taylor. And they were taking the piss out of Lemmy on camera.
Yeah.
And he was taking it. And I was just like,
because that's just what their sense of humor is like. They're not offended.
Americans are like,
They're not.
What the fuck, man? Those are fighting words. You know,
No,
he's
not
saying
for
that in
them.
front of other people. You know,
Nah, there's taking the piss. It's a storied British tradition.
yeah. But he was Phil Taylor was talking about. Yeah, I stole your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Fucking that would. You know, you're not supposed to joke about that in front of other people.
Yeah,
but,
people would get upset.
yeah.
Well, like I said, I kind of feel like it. Well, I don't know if that's true across the board because I do kind of feel like it's personality
on TV?
type. Yeah, but I mean, well, no, I mean like in the United States, like if you know somebody really well, if you've known them for a long time and you both have the same personality type, and you know that you actually do love each other, and it's not, I feel like it's less like that, but.
Yeah,
on the whole,
private,
the whole, yeah, I do feel like Americans are a lot more sensitive.
Yeah,
and are a lot more easy to take, quicker to take offense.
You're not supposed to do that in public around other people.
I gotta pee.
That way, because the other people may not understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
So yeah, there's rules between guys here. Let's see what everybody's talking about. Oh, and by the way, I've been running the show for a long time. We've been making all kinds of super chats on our Friday show. Not getting any super chats on Wednesday. I don't know what happened to y'all. But Jed worked hard on these shows. We got Klaus is in there talking. He worked with Motorhead on the European tour. Man, I love Motorhead. Motorhead was a very good British band. Got into them back in the 80s when I was a kid in high school. And I even liked their first album, On Parole. I thought that was a great album. It had Motorhead on it. The song fucking On Parole had the fucking Vibrator was on it. It had all kinds of fucking weird songs on it. It was a good but I like one of my favorite albums that Motorhead did was one that was kind of their off-brand one. I liked fucking Another Perfect Day, where they had the damn psychedelic guitars on it. They had the guitarist for that particular album was kind of like he was only on there for that album, if I remember correctly. And Another Perfect Day I thought was a fucking great album. Overkill, Iron Fist wasn't all that good, but it had some good songs on it. But Overkill, Ace of Spades came out, was really good. Orgasmatron later on, it was pretty. Go to the restroom myself. Okay, Jess back.
Let me see. Okay, I said very rare to see one survive that comes into the ER like that. Total respiratory failure. Oh, talking about, my wife had an asthma respiratory arrest. Oh, luckily we had a great EMS and big hospital doctors and respiratory therapists. Told me she could have died if they didn't have just the right people at the right place at the right time. Yeah, that's really scary. Klaus says, your Motorhead, Tom. Yes, he does. He knows a lot about, he was a big metalhead. Like, he still listens to some metal, just not as much as he used to. But he listened to that a lot. Like when he was younger. So yeah, he knows a lot about that. But yeah, so the fact that this crazy bitch just stabs two random ass middle-aged to elderly men that were just walking their dogs down the street in a nice safe little town, you know what I mean? Just runs up. I mean, you never think that's going to happen to you. You know what I mean? Even in the United States, that kind of shit is very, very rare. And I imagine it's even more rare over there. So, yeah. So after she does that, they think the dude's dead. Like I said, he did actually crawl and get help. But they thought he was dead. So she was just like, we're going to go find some more. And so they flee in the car. Now, the thing about her, though, is that she looks, gonna say the two of them are not real, what's the word I'm looking for? Inconspicuous. Yeah. Because she just looks like a normal girl, but she has a very distinctive star tattoo, on her cheek. It's green. It's right here. And she's with a dude that is 7'3", this big hulking troll of a man. So it's how are they gonna hide out? I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying? So
he's 7'3".
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Stretch. That's why they called him that. Because stretch. Dude.
That's almost 7'3".
Mm-hmm.
That's like a mutant.
It is. That's a big fucker.
Yeah.
That's like NBA shit.
Yeah.
But he wasn't thin enough and fit enough to play for the NBA.
Imagine the stress on the heart if he's not thin at that fucking...
Yeah. He was like I said, and he was kind of hate to say, but he wasn't.
He looked like fucking.
He wasn't
the
the
hills have eyes.
yeah. He wasn't the brightest crayon in the box. Like not quite that bad, but I think he was a little bit slow. You know what I mean?
Klaus says, "I know my motor." Yeah, I grew up with Motorhead.
Yeah.
I know my Motorhead. I like Lemmy. He was an original. He was a British original. Even though he lived so long in California, those dudes all became American in the end.
Camp guy said, Robert Wardlow, yeah, was 8 feet 11 inches. Yeah, there's a wax figure of him in the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in St. Augustine, which I just went to a couple years ago. They have him and the shortest man in the world like next to him. You know what I mean? So they can show. He was a big fucking dude. So her and Stretch are in the car. Mark is still in the car, wigging out because he just, like I said, he was just there to like help them like buy some stolen goods. He didn't know anything about. He didn't know she'd murdered anybody. He didn't know what she was gonna do or nothing like that. And he's just in the backseat going, "What the fuck is going on right now?" Now I will say, to the cops' credit, as soon as the stabbing happened, and they had also found one of the bodies and had subsequently kind of linked it to, I think they found Kevin Lee's body first, if I'm remembering it correctly, and they had figured out that, you know, him and her had been having an affair and all this other stuff. So her name came up pretty quick, and so cops just went shoo, and they just went out everywhere. And they pulled them over, I think within like an hour of the second stabbing. So they pulled him over. Like I said, she had stolen the second guy's dog, John Rogers' dog, but the dog was unharmed, was sitting in her lap when they pulled the car over. So I'm assuming that the dog went to a good home afterward. The poor fucking dog was probably really traumatized. I don't know.
Did they go back to the owner?
I would imagine they gave him back to. They gave the dog back to the owner when he was. I'm not really sure how long he was in the hospital, because he was pretty fucked up. Like he'd been stabbed a bunch of times. And like I said,
I'm sure he had next of kin.
Punctured both his lungs also. So they arrested her, but I think Stretch and the other guy, I think they managed to like fucking take off, you know what I mean? But they got her. So they bring her in, either that or they brought them all three in at the same time. I don't really remember what happened, but they arrested her, and there's camera footage of her being processed when they first bring her into the police station. And then, like, it's pretty long, like, and her talking to the cops. And you can tell she just does not give a shit at all. She was just joking around, flirting with the cops. She was just not taking it seriously whatsoever. She even said at one point to one of the cops, she's like, "Could be worse. I could be," and this is a quote, "big, black, fat, and ugly." That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "What?" Like, the dude literally was like, "What? Like, what are you fucking talking about?" And then she repeated it. Like, she was proud of what she just said. And he's just like, "Okay." You know what I mean? Also, she complimented one of the officers' distinctive eyebrows. Like, "Oh, you've got some nice eyebrows. Like, very stern," or something like that. Like, she was flirting with them. Oh, and then they also asked, I love this. So whoever was behind, you couldn't see whoever was behind the desk, like processing her. You can only see her and like the cops that were standing on the side. And they asked her, "Well, how much have you had to drink that day?" And she said, "Half a bottle of whiskey this morning. The expensive stuff. I've had a really hectic week." Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could say that. Man, killing 5 people, or, you know, killing 3 people and trying to kill 2 more people really takes it out of you, I guess. Gee, a lady needs some whiskey.
Yeah.
During that, "I've had a really hectic week." Okay. So, I was just like, Jesus fucking Christ, this bitch. So yeah. So then, like, eventually, when they figured out what the fuck was going on, they did actually find the other 2 bodies. So, you know, they have all 3 bodies now and the 2 guys that were stabbed that lived. So, obviously, they charge her with 3 murders and 2 attempted murders. Now, Stretch, who was 47 at the time, again, pretty rough 47, if you see pictures of him. He was her primary accomplice. Some sources said boyfriend, I don't think I'd go that far. I think she was just like using. I don't know if they had sex. They probably did.
She probably threw him some.
Yeah, she
Keep him under
probably.
control.
I figured she probably did.
Yeah.
But I don't think she gave a fuck about anybody. Really, she was just using them. He was big, like he was her muscle.
He was her Minotaur.
Yeah,
right out of that
exactly.
fucking movie. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
like
pull Minotaur, pull.
Yeah,
yeah.
He drove her around. He would help her dump bodies.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. He was a good dude to have around, and he was, like I said, he was a total fucking simp for her. He would do anything, and even after they got arrested, he said in the letter, I saw like on the letter, it's like, I would still do anything for you, and like I love you, all this other kind of stuff. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Have some self-respect, heaven's sakes. So he got life. He didn't get a whole life tariff because he didn't actually do any of the murders, but he'd know about them and helped her dispose of the bodies, which obviously that's bad. So he got life with possibility of parole after 19 years, but I don't know if they're going to give him that or not. He tried to claim during the trial that he was afraid of her and that's why he done it. I'm like, bro, you were like 3 times her size. You could squash her like a bug. Why are you afraid of her? You know what I mean? Like, I could see if you were the same size as her, or because she's crazy and she always had that fucking knife and she was pretty stabby. You know what I mean? And she could act like a lunatic, like at the drop of a hat. So I could get, like, if you were just a regular sized dude, but he was like way, way, way bigger than her. He could just like pick her up and go, you know what I mean? So I don't buy that. I don't think he was afraid of her, but I think he was in love with her and was just doing what he wanted, but he didn't want anybody to know that or something. So he got life plus, but he's eligible for parole after 19 years. Leslie Layton, who also lived in the same building and also helped with dumping a couple of the bodies, he got convicted also, and he got 14 years. And then there was this other guy who I didn't even mention up to now, I don't think. He was 55, and his name was Robert Moore, and he admitted to assisting an offender. He got 3 years. What he had done was he had actually loaned Joanna a tarp to wrap John Chapman's body in, and he had also let her and Stretch like hide out with him after Kevin Lee got murdered, like when they knew the cops were looking for them, like let them stay there for a day or two. So he got 3 years. So that's like yet another dude that she convinced, and again, he was just kind of like an old drunk, like an old druggie. The US like he was kind of an older man.
Most U.S. states, I don't even think would have taken that. I don't even think they would have taken that charge. You realize that?
Yeah.
They're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Well, they were just trying to find all her accomplices. You know what I mean?
Here in the U.S., they would just get that dude to testify against him.
Yeah.
And then that would.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he did or not. I mean, they didn't really need anybody to, because they knew what she did.
And you know how they are.
Yeah.
They get everybody.
Yeah.
Because they got to save space in prison. You know what I mean? They wouldn't care about that 3 years. They'd have just.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
They got him to testify. That was it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that guy after he got out. He didn't look real healthy when he went in there. Yeah. I'm gonna say, because I saw his booking photo.
Because that's just putting on somebody on welfare. That's all that is.
Yeah.
Leave that bitch outside.
But yeah. So then her trial comes up, and they had expected, because at first when they asked her, "Hey, did you kill this person? Hey, did you kill that person?" Like, and they asked her all the victims' names, she just said no comment, no comment, no comment. So they thought that it was going to be, oh shit, we're going to have this big long trial. And like they had spent like a few months like preparing for the trial. I think when she got caught in April, I think, of 2013, and the trial was in November. So they had spent all that time, getting the case ready. And then when she goes into court, she just pled guilty. And I don't think her lawyer even knew that she was going to do that. And she just walked in and just said guilty.
She knew she couldn't fight that.
Well, yeah, I guess not. And then she said something like, because they said really the whole time that they were kind of, going back and forth with it, she was just kind of like not taking it seriously. She was laughing at stuff, like just acting really, acting really shitty.
She's putting on a show.
Yeah. And then she came up and said she didn't want to be controlled by anybody. She wanted to be controlled by her lawyers or the cops or judges or anybody.
Typical.
And what I think it was her sister that said later, that the reason she pled guilty, and everyone was kind of surprised, but they said, well, that was her way of asserting control over the
Yeah.
situation in really the only way that she could at this
Yeah.
point, by
Yeah.
doing something they didn't expect her to do.
Yeah.
So, her sister called it,
They
I
do that
think.
all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the U.S. they just commit suicide.
Mm.
That's the way you take control away. Can't
Yeah.
punish me.
And
I'm outta
especially
here.
and especially I kind of feel like it's especially shitty when they do that when like there's still bodies out there that they don't
Yeah.
know where they are.
Yeah, like Ariel Castro.
Yeah, and it's just and they just kill themselves so they don't, and then they just like are like, hey, that's like the final fuck you, because now those people are probably never gonna have their loved ones found.
Yeah.
Which is really shitty. But so yeah, so this chick, she pleaded guilty. And like I said, she was just very defiant and just like laughing at everything. So obviously they did a bunch of psychiatric evaluations on her. She'd had some done in the past. I think she was actually in a mental hospital like for assessment for 3 days, like even before the killings. And they had diagnosed her with antisocial personality disorder, psychopathic traits, and paraphilic sadomasochism, which obviously deriving sexual pleasure from pain or humiliation. Also, they said that after she stabbed people with her knife, like she didn't wash it, like she wouldn't wash the blood off it because she liked the smell of it, like she liked that the blade was all bloody.
That's more performance.
Yeah. She also, they said that the porn she watched was like super violent. She really liked really violent porn.
Yeah.
And
straight porn or gay porn?
I don't know. I believe she was bisexual because she did sleep with women also.
Okay. So it's probably more
like even before she went to prison.
Yeah, so she's not going to hell. She's going to heaven. She's gonna go in there and get girlfriends. She don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Now she doesn't have to work for a living and take care of babies.
Although we'll get into it because she's
they probably beat her up in there.
No, they didn't. Actually, she's been kind of a troublemaker in prison. Gonna say, but yeah, and like I said, she did a lot of self harm also. Like apparently she got off on like cutting herself and like cutting other people like while they were having sex and stuff. Yeah, but like I said, she'd been doing this for a long time. Like before she even started killing people.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, while I don't know if the murders were 100% sexually motivated, that does seem to have been a component, which, like I said, is very, very rare for female killers of this type. Which is why I found her kind of interesting. Like, I don't think she doesn't seem like an interesting person necessarily, because she just kind of seems like, I don't know, like I said, just like a edgelordy nobody. But like, I'm just kind of interested in the psychology, just because you don't usually see this type of behavior in women, even women that are killers. They don't usually do this kind of shit. And I was kind of curious, so I kind of went on a little bit of a rabbit hole thing. I was like, well, I couldn't really think of that many offhand, because I was like, well, are there other similarly like sexually motivated or partially sexually motivated like female killers, like female serial killers? And it's kind of hard to think of any. Like, I guess Rose West, and Carla Homolka, who I mentioned before, but both of those were half of a killer couple that, did murders with their male partners. Same with Myra Hindley. And Myra Hindley, I think, is like slightly different than those two also, because and I'm not saying that Myra Hindley wasn't a horrible woman, because she was, and she's dead now. She died like a long time ago. But Myra Hindley, I do think out of the three that I just mentioned, I think she was the one that probably wouldn't have done any murders if she hadn't met Ian Brady. I think he brainwashed her or something, or like, unlocked something in her, I guess. But I think if she hadn't met him, I think she just would have been a normal ass person. Rose West and Carla Homolka, I'm not so sure about those two. You know what I mean? But again, when you see this type of sexual, because Rose West definitely had some sexual kind of shit going on, and so did Carla Homolka, but both of them worked in tandem with their, husbands, like, who were serial killers. So it's very unusual to have like a single female serial killer that's doing stuff for at least partially sexual reasons. And I was like, are there any more? Like, you know what I mean? So I looked it up. I did find, and this is I'd never heard of this woman before. There was a Hungarian serial killer, a lesbian woman whose name was, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong, mm, Jankso Peroska. Now, she killed 5 teenage girls in the 50s for sexual reasons. I had never heard of her because
Yeah, never heard
it
of
was
her,
a
yeah.
long time ago. But like I said, I was
How
kind
old
of,
was she?
I don't know, but I was kind of
Yeah.
doing a deep dive, and I was just curious because I was like, it's just very unusual to see this type
Yeah.
of sadistic like paraphilia in women killers. And so I was kind of looking for other examples of it because I couldn't think of any
It sounds like
offhand.
something a teenage girl would do.
She would no, she wasn't a teenager. She
older?
was
Yeah.
older. But like I said, it happened back in the 50s. And then I
Yeah.
was like, oh, there was Melissa Huckabee. She kidnapped, raped, and murdered an 8-year-old girl named Sandra Cantu. That was in 2009 in California.
I don't
But
remember that.
Huckabee was technically not a serial killer because she got caught like after
Yeah, just
doing
one.
that one. But that's not to say that she wouldn't have become a serial killer had she not been caught. But she also seemed to do things for sexual reasons. But like I said, it's very, very unusual.
I vaguely remember that one.
Yeah.
Maybe we ought to do that one.
I think I have that on the list.
Yeah.
I had just kind of forgotten about it, like what the motivation behind it was. Like I said, we've talked about this before. Like when women kill, it's usually for different motives. It's not usually sexual motives. So it's strange. That's why I was so
Yeah.
fascinated by like Taylor Schabusiness, even though she's not a serial killer because she killed that one guy.
Yeah, it was
Like
like
her boyfriend.
She loved him, and this was her.
And then she decided she was going to cut his dick off like while she was sucking it. It's like it's a whole
weird,
thing.
Yeah.
Go
she
back and
kicked
watch
his
that
head,
that
and she
episode
thought it
if
was
you haven't seen it.
awesome. She thought it was awesome. She thought he would approve. That was another weird thing.
She
about
was
Taylor
also
Swift.
batshit insane.
That makes me wonder if meth had something to do with that shit. Was she a meth? Was she a meth?
I mean, that would explain a lot.
Yeah.
And the thing about these people, Joanna Dennehy and all the accomplices and stuff, is they were all druggies
Yeah.
too. So I don't think
Yeah.
that was why they did it, but it's like I'm sure it didn't help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to do shit when you're fucking hopped up on
Yeah,
some
I
shit.
saw the Taylor Schabusiness arrest videos when she was arrested on the fucking scene with the cops and everything. And she doesn't come across as a chick that has killed her boyfriend. She actually just comes across as a goofball,
Yeah, weird.
fucking
It was really weird.
meth head type shit. It was just weird as fuck. And
Yeah.
no, she had her boyfriend's head and his body parts
Yeah, his head was like
down
in a bucket or
in
something.
the bucket. Yeah, the mama
in the
had
basement.
seen it, and she was like totally no.
Can
You
you
gotta
fucking
understand,
imagine?
I love him. You know, we were
They're like,
it was
but
such a great day.
his
you know.
head is in a
He would have.
bucket.
It was kind of like he would have understood. It was the ultimate thing. You know what I mean? We were just going all the way in. Now
He would
he's
have been fine with it.
yeah. He loved it. It would have
Seriously.
now he's with me. That type of deal. It's weird.
Yeah. Some people
It's
just
a one-time thing. We're together
are
forever.
not
you know,
right. Some people
we're
are not
together forever now. It's like crazy ass
Okay.
bitch. It sounded more like some kind of fucking crazy chick who was on meth and maybe
Yeah.
hadn't slept in a long time.
Yeah, she definitely has
Yeah.
some fucking issues.
It
American military said Carol Bundy, the female half of the Sunset Strip Slayers, killed on her own. That's right, I'd forgotten about her. But again, it does seem like a lot of the women that do this kind of shit, it's almost always in tandem with a man.
I remember Carol Bundy. Who was that?
Yeah, did we do a show about them?
Sunset Strip Killers? Kind of.
Yeah, I feel like we did, but it was probably like a long time ago. Either that or it was on the list or we talked about it or something. I don't remember. But we might have done them on one of our Killer Couples Valentine specials. I think is when we did that. Because I think I remember talking about them. But yeah, she did kill some people on her own, but then she killed people with him too.
Yeah.
Was she the one that like cut that dude's head off like in the van? Like, I think
don't
she was
remember.
doing shit to like impress him. Like, look at the fucked up shit I can do. You know what I mean?
I can't remember. I get them confused.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of times when women do really egregious shit like that, it's usually in tandem with a dude. You know what I mean? Like, they're kind of like spurring each other on. So I think it's really unusual, even though Joanna Dennehy had male accomplices, they didn't help her kill anybody. They didn't talk her into killing anybody. She did that shit all on her own. She did the murders by herself. She only called the goon squad in because she needed help dumping the body. like moving the body. That's all she called them for, or she needed a place to hide or some shit like that.
Klaus says he loves us, so that means he's drunk. And he wants to know where Zach is. I don't know. Zach
I love
didn't
you
show up.
guys.
We love you too. Zach didn't show up for some reason.
Yeah.
He'll be around. He's okay.
I mean, yeah, he's usually here, but not always. So it's like, don't get too worried.
He's listening to fucking Fleetwood Mac, growing his beard out. He's starting to look like a caveman, just a big old fucking beard.
Yeah, he's got a big beard.
And like, man, you're too young to have a beard that big. Come on. Too young, too gay with a beard that big. He's trying to look like Lindsey Buckingham.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, with the hair and everything.
Yeah, I remember that hair.
Yeah. He's going off Fleetwood Mac on us.
He's going off.
Yeah,
as long as in
a gay bar.
As long as he doesn't go as far as like Art Garfunkel.
Yeah, he's gonna go. He's shaving his hair back like this. It's all frizzy on the back. Shaving his fucking.
Don't go full Art Garfunkel.
Full 7 head. Yeah, 8 head.
Yeah, it's like not even a 5 head. It's like
an 8 head. Yeah,
it's like it's way back there.
Oh man, the fuck is
poor guy.
Oh man, fucking Simon Garfunkel though, man. No, one of the greatest American folk acts of all time.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, all their music.
Yeah,
all their little songs were good.
All their little songs.
Yeah, Kodachrome and shit.
I remember that one.
Yeah, Kodachrome.
Yeah, they had some good shit.
They had a lot. They didn't have any bad songs.
Not that I can remember.
No, all their shit was good.
Yeah. But yeah,
very Jewish, very New York, very good, very good. Yeah.
So after this whole shit show, Miss Dennehy got a full life tariff, as we mentioned before. This was in 2014. She was only the 3rd woman in British history to get a whole life tariff. The other 2 before her were Myra Hindley, who I already mentioned, and Rosemary West, who I also already mentioned. Lucy Letby, who we did a show about, she was the nurse that killed those 7 babies and tried to kill a bunch of other ones. She actually also got a whole life tariff, but that was later. That was like in 2023. So at the time that Joanna Dennehy was convicted, she was the 3rd woman ever to get that. The judge was like not having it. He called her a cruel, calculating, selfish, and manipulative serial killer with sadomasochistic tendencies.
Oh, I'm sure she loved that.
Yeah, and she was just kind of like, yeah, that's me, motherfucker.
That's me, bitch.
Yeah.
That was her claim to fame.
Yeah. So like I said, very, very unusual. I found this case very unusual because you just don't usually see this with female serial killers, even though technically I feel like she's more of a spree killer. I feel like female killers usually kill for financial gain or in partnership with a male killer. Joanna, though, seemed to kill just for because she was exciting. She was a sadist. She enjoyed hurting people. And then, she targeted dudes she knew at first, who I don't even think most of the time she was mad at. She just like wanted to kill somebody. But then just kind of escalated over a very short time period to like random attacks. And so they sent her to HM Prison Bronzefield at first, which, women's prison. And she was already, by the time she got there, I don't know if it was just her, they found her prison, like a diary she was writing. And she had this whole ass plan that she was going to escape by killing one of the guards and cutting their fingers off to do the biometric scan with the fingerprint. Yeah. She was going to cut their fingers off and like use their fingers to do that.
Pure fantasy.
So they had a whole, and that's what they thought, but they were just kind of like, well, that's not great that she's like fucking writing about that shit.
Extremely hard to actually.
And they threw her in solitary, and I think she was in there for a couple of years. You know what I mean?
A couple of years in solitary.
Yeah. After that little stunt. Also, she attempted self-harm and attempted suicide, like in kind of a bullshit sort of way, like a few times while she was in there. And she also got a girlfriend. She had a cellmate. It's a women's prison. So she had a cellmate named Haley Palmer. And the two of them, like I said, she never targeted women. And she was never violent toward women. So when she was in prison, they thought that's why initially they just put her in Bronzefield, because it's not low security, but it's not like the highest security. They'd move her there later. But so she was in there, so she had a cellmate, and her and Haley, who I believe was in her 20s at the time, they started a relationship, and Haley also apparently like fell madly in love with her. And they had a suicide pact. They were going to do it in 2018, but they chickened out. Like they never did it. I think though I don't know if they got in a fight or they tried to kill each other like in the suicide pact, but they found them both like wounded like in there. Like I don't remember what year that was though. Also, they found out that she was writing letters to men on the outside trying to lure them to come see her because she wanted to kill them. Because she was getting a little, she didn't kill women.
Yeah.
So she was like, there's no men in here to murder. So she was getting a little antsy. You know what I mean? So she was like trying to lure somebody, just like, oh, come see me. I love you, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? And then hopefully she could like get him in a, like get out of there and just all right and start fucking stabbing.
That's what she said? That's what she told me?
I mean, that's kind of what they were imagining.
Yeah.
So, so what happened? She got transferred after the whole incident where they found her and Haley like wounded in the cell, and they were just kind of like, okay, well, we don't know what the fuck happened here, but it's not great, so we need to separate you guys. So in 2019, Joanna got sent to Low Newton prison, which is kind of like the highest security closed prison, like for women, and it's the same place. These are like where the worst of the worst, female prisoners are. And it so happened that another prisoner that was at this same prison was the aforementioned Rosemary West. Because she is also there, like on a whole life tariff. And Joanna, because even though Rose at this time was like in her 60s or 70s, so she's like an older lady, but because she was like the most notorious, she's like Queen Bee, right? So when Joanna gets there, evidently she wasn't having that because she wants to be Queen Bee, right? Like she
Rose
wants,
West.
She wants to be the baddest. So she threatens to kill Rose.
What was the reason?
Because what I just said, because Rose was the worst criminal there, like the most notorious, and was Queen Bee.
Okay.
So Joanna wanted to be Queen Bee.
Okay, so it wasn't the kind of deal where you victimize these people, so I'm going to be the avenging angel.
No,
or some shit like
she
that.
just wanted. She just wanted like hierarchical. She wanted to be the boss. Okay. She wanted to be the worst.
Okay.
So she's like, "Well, I'm going to kill you."
All right.
Mm-hmm. Whether she would have done it, I don't know.
Sounds like.
But they were just kind of like, okay, well, we don't want like fucking drama or like it was shit going. So they actually moved Rose like somewhere else. Because like I said, she was like an older lady at this point. So they moved her because they didn't want some shit going down. And also like a little bit later, Lucy Letby, who I just talked about, who also got a whole life tariff. She was the fourth woman to get it. She was moved to the same prison too, because like I said, that's where like the worst serial killers were. So like I said, female serial killers, I was kind of interested. I think I looked the statistics up before. Female serial killers are exceptionally rare. Most widely accepted estimates, probably between 8 and 15% of all documented serial killers, like ones they know about, are women. And as we've mentioned, female serial killers, are a lot different than male serial killers. They're more likely to kill for financial gain, insurance payouts, inheritance. They're much more likely to target people they know, usually family members or, patients, like if they're nurses or if they're taking care of an elderly person or something like that. And they tend to use quieter methods or methods that aren't as easily detectable, like poison or some shit like that. Now, female spree killers, like Joanna Dennehy is kind of more like a spree killer, are even more unusual. So they've said like maybe, and this is throughout like all of history that they know of, maybe 5% of all spree killings committed by women. And of those, they usually act as accomplices to male offenders rather than doing the shit on their own. So I feel like what Joanna Dennehy did was like a fraction of a percentage of that. Since it's only 5% of spree killers are women anyway, like throughout known history or like however long they've been keeping records of it. but most of those were in tandem with a man, and she wasn't. Which, like I said, makes her very, very unusual. So it must be like a tiny, tiny percentage. So I feel like she's just an outlier. Like, I don't want to give her any fucking special. I'm just kind of interested because you hardly ever see this kind of shit. And it's crazy that she's not better now. Well, I guess she's like really well known in the UK, but I guess like in the US, she's not really a household name. I mean, they call the case the Peterborough Ditch Murders because, all three murder victims were found in ditches, like in Peterborough, so obviously that makes sense. But I kind of feel like she's not a household name by any stretch of the imagination. Um, and I'm not really sure why, because like I said, you would think like true crime junkies like me, because I wasn't even really that familiar with the case, and I'm not yeah, I'm in the US, so obviously I'm going to hear more about American cases, but I'm not, I hear a lot about UK ones too, because I read about those and Australian ones too. So I'm just kind of shocked that I had heard the case name, but I didn't really know much about it. And so I'm kind of glad that I got kind of into it because I don't know, I'm just fascinated by this. I'm fascinated by couple serial killers and I'm fascinated by female serial killers just because you don't see it much. And I'm just kind of fascinated by the psychology behind it, especially this bitch, because this is like vanishingly rare. I kind of feel like this kind of women doing this kind of shit.
I think there's a lot of this type of personality type. It's just that they don't
Yeah,
actually get around to
yeah.
kill
I'm
people.
not saying that there aren't
Yeah.
women that are nuts like this,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
obviously I've known a couple.
This is just one
But
that
it's like
actually
it's
kills
very
people.
unusual. But it's just kind of like there's a lot of men that are sociopaths
Yeah.
that never kill
Didn't
anybody,
actually kill
but they're
anybody.
just assholes.
Right,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing.
Same
Like
kind of
there's a
deal.
lot of women that have these personality disorders,
Right,
but
right.
most people don't kill anybody.
Yeah, I've met girls like this.
Yeah,
They
so
just not killing
yeah,
people.
so have I. They just
Yeah.
haven't murdered anybody. And the same, it's like, and I've met dudes that were fucking psychopaths, you know what I mean? But they hadn't killed anybody that I know of. So, you know what I mean? So I think it's just a case of that, because it's very, very rare for somebody to kill somebody in the first place. Um, so I guess it's that. But I mean, this woman must be like a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage of a percentage. You know what I mean? Of an already small percentage. But that's why I find that like really interesting, because I know everyone's not the same and women aren't a hive mind, blah, 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 but it's just kind of like being a woman myself, and I can't really imagine doing anything like this, or this kind of shit wouldn't even occur to me. Um, and I think it wouldn't occur to most women probably. I mean, it wouldn't occur to most men either, I imagine. But but I don't know. It's just weirder to me. It's weirder to me when like a woman does shit like this. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's right or wrong. It just is. Yeah, Klaus says I've heard the name, but she's not famous. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like she's not. Like I said, she's not really a household name. I don't know about the UK. She might be a household name in the UK. For all I know. I mean, because I'm in the US and I've heard of Rosemary West and I've heard of Myra Hindley. Lucy Letby, I had heard more about that, but that was because that was recent. So I'd like seen it on the news. So we did a show about her too. And and the thing about Lucy Letby is that there are still like a lot of people that think she didn't really do that shit. That it wasn't her, it was just coincidence or accidents or something like that. I'm not really sure I buy that. But it seems like a where there's smoke there's fire kind of situation. But so I think she's not a household name the way Rosemary West or Myra Hindley are. But I don't know. I feel like it's weird like that this woman's not better known, like at least in the US. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so do you have anything else you would like to add?
No, not really. Just that yeah, she's interesting on paper. The shit that she did is it's an outlier. If you're some dude who's like fucking going like, yeah, I could fix it. No, you couldn't. And the thing is there's a lot of women like this. They just, like Jen said earlier, they're just not killing people.
Yeah.
I met women like this, known them. They just they come on to you real hard, real fast. They try to fucking seal a deal with you, but you find that there's a long history of fucked up shit behind them, and you're kind of turned off the more you know about them, and the shit never happens. I mean, they only end up with losers, which might have been the part of the reason why she blew up, not being able to get a fucking quality man. Might have been part of the problem.
I mean, that's a possibility, but in a way, that's kind of her own fault because, like,
yeah, it's because of the shit they do.
I mean, she fell into drugs and
Yeah,
shit like
yeah.
that, like really. And you know,
Yeah.
if you're like a big druggie and
You're right.
dropping out of school and hanging out with criminals and shit like
That's
that,
what's
like
gonna
yeah,
happen.
you're not gonna find a quality
So then,
relationship in that
Yeah.
situation.
right. Usually, the garden variety version of this one, she's got a long trail of fucking losers in her past. She sleep with anybody to get ahead. Bunch of lying, bunch of cheating. They steal. They're just common criminal lowlife. They're like this. She happens to be better than average looking for her class. In other words, most criminal chicks don't look that good.
Looks like she has all of her teeth,
Yeah, she's got all her teeth. She's in decent shape.
which you wouldn't see if.
But
someone
really,
in
when
that-
you compare her to most women, she's just an average woman for her age
yeah,
who's in shape. So she's not anything special. And then they fuck, and she's an egomaniac. So of course she's gonna freak the fuck out when you tell her that, like, you're not special. Well, she's killing people to try to become special. You know,
I feel like that's a big underutilized or under-explained like aspect of a lot of killers.
yeah,
Is that they
They're
want to
trying to
be
be
special,
special.
and they
Right.
know deep down that they're
Yeah.
losers and they can't really accomplish anything
Yeah.
positive with their life.
yeah.
So like, fuck it, I'm just gonna
Go the other direction.
I'm gonna just gonna go the complete other direction
Yeah.
and get famous that way.
right.
Some of them have even said that, like
Yeah.
in as many words.
Which she's famous now.
yeah, I
She's
mean,
not loved.
probably not as famous as she
Yeah.
wants to be.
She's not free, so she's not accessible. She can only hook up with her little lesbian girls, and they're criminals too.
Yeah.
So they're not really a choice woman. You know, this whole thing about her trying to talk to guys in the outside world to bring them in to kill them, probably not true. Probably more like it is that she's probably looking for somebody on the outside who could help her, somebody she can look up to. She's
Or she's fantasizing
fantasizing
about
of a
bringing
dream-
somebody in and killing them.
of a dreamboat man. But I think the whole "I'm gonna kill you" thing is a cop out. Oh no, I'm not looking for love. I don't need anything. That's what. But actually, this is a
Yeah.
needy bitch.
Yeah, and
This
she's
is a
trying to be
neat-
a hard ass.
She's trying to be a hard ass. She's a needy bitch. She needs love. Nobody loves her. That's really what's behind all this shit.
Well, now I will say,
But the thing is, though, is that you can't step in there. Oh, I'm gonna fix it. No, she'll kill you.
yeah,
She's sick.
yeah, yeah, she's not
She's
right.
fucking sick. Yeah.
She's not right.
If
you
you're
don't want
weaker
anything to
than
do with
her,
that.
she kills you.
You don't
You
want
have to be
anything do with
stronger
that.
than her, and to be stronger than her, you have to be cruel, and a cruel and protective master, and fucking, or she's gonna buck up and try to kill you when you're asleep, and then she might kill you in your sleep anyway. It just
Yeah,
you
that's what I
can't- you
mean.
can't
She
trust
gets a
it.
wild hair across the crack of her
Yeah,
ass,
yeah.
and she just decides to wake up. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
Yeah,
today.
he's
Why
been
not?
mean to me.
What the fuck?
You're not dealing with a
bored.
fucking rocket scientist, okay?
I will note, I think I forgot to mention this, but remember I
Yeah.
said that she had that girlfriend in prison.
Yeah.
And then they eventually separated them. And Haley, she wasn't a murderer. She was just like she was just in for robbery or some
Yeah.
like lame ass
So
bullshit.
she's a short.
So
time.
she got let out,
Yeah.
and she came back
Mhm.
to visit her like all
Yeah.
the time, and they applied to get married.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever did. I think that was in 2021. Like I don't know if they ever like gave them permission.
Yeah.
But that Haley woman, so it wasn't just men that she had like fucking control over. Apparently this other girl was like
Yeah.
super into her too, and like kept coming back and saying how much she loved her and all this other kind of crap. And I was just kind of like,
she's
"What?"
not getting her out of prison.
Well, no,
To be with her,
she's
she's
never
gonna-
getting out.
Yeah, to be with her, you got to go back into prison.
Yeah, it's like she's never getting out.
Yeah, you don't want
So-
to get involved with inmates.
I mean, no,
Nah,
it's crazy.
no,
That's
you're
crazy. to
crazy
me.
if you get.
I mean, Klaus says, Jen, Anders Breivik has a girlfriend now. Yeah, it's like, look,
yeah,
this is
Breivik was
there's someone for everybody, which
yeah.
that's kind of heartwarming, but it's also kind of horrifying.
I can understand Breivik though because he was very organized. He wasn't a fucking a fucking like shitty person living in filth and unemployed. He actually was productive. He was a good looking guy. He thought he was taking on a higher mission to protect Western civilization, and they got women out there that would believe that. and go, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Like I said, there's someone
The
out
thing
there.
is,
for
though,
everybody.
is he doesn't understand the tides of war. There's a time for war, and there's a time not for war. You never go to war by yourself. You know what I mean? It has to be a civilizational thing. Your nation has to call you. And if your nation doesn't call you, then maybe another nation would. You can work for another nation. But no, you don't ever want to wage war against people on your own. They call that crime.
Yeah,
That's what they call that. You have to have some kind of an institution behind you. And that was his problem. And there were institutions that he could have fucking actually joined, probably. That would have done that. They would have been in the intelligences. He could have joined the intelligence agencies, joined the military, gotten a military background, become a mercenary, and work for security companies. Fucking dudes do it. Fucking I did it. Fucking, you know. But there are other ways to do it. Just he didn't want to go through the fucking proper channels.
Well, they never do they?
Yeah.
Also, like I said, I think their egos kind of.
Yeah, like why would I join?
You know, I
Yeah.
can do this on my own. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very self-aggrandizing.
Yeah. Go ahead and be the mafia on your own.
Yeah.
Might as well be that.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so I do kind of feel like a lot of these killers, especially maybe some serial killers, depending on what their pathology is, but I kind of feel like you see it a lot in mass shooters and things like that, where it's just this very this self-importance, I guess, and and a need to be special.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I get that. I kind of feel like most people, you know, nobody just wants to be, you know, Joe Nobody. Like, that's depressing. But you have to understand there's like billions of people on Earth, and it's just like, you're just a regular motherfucker. Like, all of them are. Like, you're not better than them. You're not more special than them. You're not more worthy than them or anything like that. It's just, you have to fucking accept that.
Yeah.
You know, you just do. It's just, it's not bad. It's, you know, that's just the way it is. So I kind of feel like that pursuit of trying to be something bigger, something that you're not, is kind of the root of a lot of problems. Not just that, but we were watching this, maybe sounds like a little bit off, like out of left field, but we were watching a thing last night about that cult.
Yeah.
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to watch the rest of that, actually, if we can get HBO Max to work. But because it's HBO Max is real glitchy, like on our Xbox for some reason. But I feel like that's the reason a lot of people join cults too, because they kind of feel, they want to feel special.
Yeah. Now Klaus is asking me, but he was killing children. Is that common in the U.S.? No, but you have to understand that geography is a big factor. The United States is pretty big. It's got a lot of people in it, so chances are that's going to happen, and it does happen.
Yeah.
Same thing. You could take something the size of the United States and put it over Europe, Western Europe, and parts of fucking, Eastern Europe. And eventually, if you wait long enough, depending on population density, that will happen. But you have to understand something. You were raised as a civilian in a civilization. I kind of wasn't. I was raised in a military environment, in a military academy as a kid, and went into the military and then did shit afterwards. And I had a family that was just steeped in defense contracting going back to my grandfather. So I'm not a civilian. My family isn't a civilian family. So we're not civilized. It's normal for us to see these kind of things because they hire us to deal with these things. Defense contracting, building weapons, fucking training soldiers, training foreign soldiers that end up doing shit. Doing shit myself. I was on North Korea. Dealing with North Korea and fucking Korea, the 2nd fucking Infantry Division. So you're seeing things through the eyes of a child, basically. You think you're in a civilization. You aren't. You are in the animal kingdom. That's really what you're in. These institutions are just parts of the animal kingdom. They're just things in the jungle. You're in a jungle. Don't forget that at all. It kind of raised you from birth to have certain expectations of like peace and law and order, which is a part of civilization. But it's kind of very thin. That's a very thin veneer. I was in Louisiana when Hurricane Katrina hit. And I watched all civilization just fall apart. Cops running with their families in the cop cars to leave everybody behind to drown. all the old people in the old folks' homes drowning, cops going rogue, raping and killing people in New Orleans, the fucking General Honore and the fucking National Guard going in to kill the police that were in New Orleans who were doing this. Civilization isn't what you think it is. It's very fragile, and you're 9 meals away from anarchy, basically. If a city goes 3 days without food and power, it's Mad Max. And it's just kind of held together by force. Everything is force. The legal system is force because it's backed up with dudes with guns that bring you in front of a judge, and he's got a gun behind a fucking desk, and he sends your ass to fucking prison to be executed or life in prison or whatever. Everything is force versus force, just like the animal kingdom. So never forget that. In the end, it's you and your friends and your family and your ability to protect yourselves in a sea of chaos. That's what it really is. The order is an illusion, and it's temporary. Cut the power and cut the food, and you're back pre-Middle Ages, before the Middle Ages, because they had food, and they didn't have any expectation of electric power. So just don't forget that. You're not better than anybody else.
Well, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we're gonna wrap it up for this evening.
All right.
It's getting kind of late.
Yeah.
And like I said, if we can get HBO to work, I wouldn't mind watching another episode of that. We just couldn't. It kept like fucking glitching out, man. It works fine on my laptop, but for some reason when we try to watch it on the Xbox, it just like keeps stopping every 5 minutes, and it's really annoying. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up for this evening. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the show tonight. I don't remember which of you guys recommended this bitch, but thank you. It was a really interesting topic. So yeah, we will be back again on Friday night for the Sidetrack show. We can do a full-length show. We're not going out Friday. No, we're not going out Friday. So yeah, we can stay in Friday night and drink and hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
Like we always do.
Yeah, Saturday is our goth night.
Yeah, that's right. We're doing Memento Mori this week,
Yeah.
but we're not doing Friday night.
No, Friday we're free.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. It's always a good time. So have a good rest of your evening, you guys, or whatever time it is, and wherever you are in the world. Have a good day tomorrow, and we will see you guys again on Friday night. Good night.